This is our town.
Welcome!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 220 of Value Town. I'm ChanmanV, and I've got Gallon over here for the first time. What's up, Gallon?
How's it going, man? I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man, it's awesome to have you finally, man. I've been hearing about Gallon and playing in the scene for a long time, being practice partners for a lot of, players winning tournaments, and then now finally we get a chance to not only see you actually do super well at a tournament recently, but you're going to be front and center soon, which we'll talk about obviously in a little bit.
Just
here.
a bit, yeah.
Yeah.
A bit. It was exciting. I've been playing in the tournament scene for like quite a while now, and there's been like a lot of tournaments where like I made it to the top cut, or like just below the top cut, and it was always like, oh, I lost. So finally have like a decent result for once. So yeah,
that's awesome. No, I mean that's the story of Hearthstone, right? Like I feel like there's players that you always have to have that breakout moment, and it's like whenever you have that breakout moment, then all of a sudden the community, like a lot of people learn who you are, and then for some reason like wins just come right after that too. They just seem to come in bunches, so it's kind of funny.
Hopefully that would be great.
So second, we've had our share, like Dog and everybody that's finished second many times. They've had their share of like doing that and then finally winning one. So maybe it's like a tiered thing. So you're in that second place, and hopefully the next thing will be the first place. But anyways, guys, we got a lot to talk about this show. We've got obviously Gallon here to talk about just Grandmaster and everything going on there. We've also got tons and tons of cards to review, given that we've only done I think two on the show so far. So they had the final dump, or where the giant stream with Kibler and Chris and everybody. So we'll definitely be talking about all the cards. We're not going to go through each one of them. We're just going to kind of look at them all, and then we'll point out the ones that we think are worth talking about or are discussion points. And then last, what Q&A? Got any questions? Definitely, you can tweet them at ValueTownGG, or you can just type them in chat here, or you can always email us, guys, at valuetown@chanmanv.tv if you ever want to ask a question before the show starts. But we're going to start out like we always do, our week in Hearthstone. Gallon, what you been up to in terms of Hearthstone? You been playing a bunch or anything?
So there hasn't really been much to do on ladder recently, so I've been entertaining myself by playing like this really awful, just tremendously awful warrior list. I used to call it bad warrior.
Yeah.
And we put in dimensional rippers and like a bunch of 10 drops and stuff. Now it's big bad warrior.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I've been playing a couple games like Soleil on his stream. We got like a couple good ones, a lot of bad ones, but there are a couple of good ones as well. So solid like 5% win rate.
I have a good time playing bad decks sometimes. I don't know if it's just me. I'm obviously different than you guys because you guys are obviously at the top of the ladder and everything. But I don't know. I sometimes I just like to run some bad decks and try different things I would normally wouldn't try. I don't know if you guys, do that during those segments. It's a certain segment that you guys do that with, right?
Yeah, it's we definitely try them, but it's not in like good faith, like we're trying to learn them. You know what I mean? It's more like, wow, this is really bad. Maybe we can win with it.
Oh, right. It's like a challenge more than it is. Yeah.
The next power spike is running cleaves, so it's just not.
Oh my God.
It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So warrior, that's definitely definitely a class that I've been trying to avoid recently, just because I think I've played way too many warrior games in the past. I've been still sticking to the shaman. I've been playing so much shaman that I don't know. I'm just kind of addicted to the shaman class. So
are you playing like the aggro overload shaman, or just like
just both? I've been playing all kinds, like not the Murloc one. I play basically everything but the Murloc shaman. So yeah, so the overload one's a lot of fun. Crazy control one is super fun. It's amazing how much shaman actually has, and people haven't really gotten a chance to really delve into a lot of the utilities it has, just because Murloc's so good, or there's another control deck, warrior specifically, that's just better. So this is the expansion, maybe we'll start seeing a bit more with totems and all this crazy stuff that we're going to be talking about. But yeah, the shaman class, I really like what they've done with the shaman class, at least design wise. Have you got a chance to play any shaman at all? Anything?
I think I play tested some Murloc Shaman for like 1 week of Specialist. Like they were, I think it was Purple that was preparing against Nalgidon, and Nalgidon had like brought Murloc Shaman like a previous week. So the stats on it like had a super favorite versus everything. Like we played it out, and it was good, but it wasn't like good enough
Right.
to like continue playing it. So
yeah,
I don't know. Murloc Shaman seemed just kind of. Ugh. I like the other shamans though. I think that Overload Shaman is actually really interesting. So
yeah, and they're doing a little bit more with Overload too, like giving it a little bit more value again with Overload. So that's something they just needed to do. That mechanic is just in just the actual the fundamentals of the Overload is really really hard to design around. So it's been pretty cool to see what they've been doing just recently with how to make up for that value. But yeah, so not too much going on. It's always a little bit quiet during these times, at least in terms of playing, because everybody's excited about the new cards. But yeah, it's only a week away. The new expansion is coming out August 6th, and it's gonna be pretty crazy. It's gonna be interesting to see obviously this is the week before. We always see these streams like these what do they call it? Theory crafting streams and the firesides, where people get a chance to play the new cards. Are you going to do any of those things beforehand?
No, I think that there's like a couple people that are streaming from like the Blizzard office. They're doing like a pre-release stream, like Purple, Slissa, Ali, a couple other people. What I want is what they've been doing in like the past couple expansions, which I think is a really good idea, is they've been releasing like one powerhouse card before the expansion drops. So like Archmage Vargoth before rotation, and everyone was running like the Resurrect Priest with Archmage Vargoth, or Marin the Fox, if you remember that card. Archmage Vargoth was like super busted in that meta. Like if it lasted for more than a week, it was terrible. But for that 1 week, it was actually super fun. So if they have like some card that gets released beforehand, that's what I'm excited for.
Well, they could choose from a ton of them. It would probably have the same Vargoth. Yeah, it would be like Vargoth like levels if they chose any of them.
Yeah.
But I agree with you too. It's like a mini meta, like right before we get a ton of it. That's all it takes sometimes. It just takes like adding a couple cards, and at least everybody will try it once it comes out. Everybody will be building decks around it, which is always fun. So yeah, hopefully they do that. I don't think that I've heard any mention of them doing that. So I don't know. Maybe they won't.
Yeah.
But
maybe they will. Maybe they won't. They don't really announce it beforehand. I feel like they might have announced it for Marin the Fox just because that was like the first time they really did it. But besides that, I can't remember it. So who knows?
Yeah, maybe they'll surprise us. Okay, well, kind of moving into I guess GM. Obviously big summer for you in terms of Grandmasters. You touched on already just a little bit, but like we started off. I was like watching you cast for the first time. I was like, oh, that's cool. Gallon's actually on the desk and cool. And then obviously Vegas and having that great run. How was Vegas, by the way? Like was there anything? Obviously I haven't gotten a chance to talk to you about Vegas, but how did you feel about the whole thing and even just like the finals and having your chances at winning at Vegas?
I'm going to be a bit biased here. I love Vegas. Vegas is great. I think so. If we're talking about the city itself, Vegas is probably not my kind of scene. It's a little bit too over the top for me. But being able to hang out with like the Hearthstone community at anywhere is just so much fun. Like the Hearthstone community is so cool. Tournament itself went like really well. I prepped with Zalay and Purple for the tournament. We spent like days upon days of like trying to figure out a good Bomb Warrior list. We actually like nailed the sideboards for that tournament. I think that was really important. Like there's a bunch of people that brought Bomb Warrior, but a lot of times they didn't have like the correct sideboards. There was some people that didn't have an anti-mage sideboard, and like when you looked at the top 8, it was 4 or 5 mages. So overall, the prep went well. Tournament was great. Not even like counting the result, just because like hanging out with the community is just so much fun. So.
Yeah, I mean, getting everybody together. I mean, it happens more than it used to, but still, it doesn't happen all the time. So I think when everybody can get together and just the community itself, just being all together is a lot of fun. Just Hearthstone community is awesome. So everybody in there, all the streamers and everything, like what you see on the streams are pretty much who they are. So that's the nice thing about it.
That's for sure. Zalay is fun to hang out with in person. He's very similar. So is Purple. So
Purple, I don't know. I feel like Purple sometimes gets such a short, he's misunderstood, man. Like, purple is Ryan is nothing like that, like in person, and he's not that different on stream, but for some reason it comes off a lot worse on stream. I don't know why.
I think like if you go into purple stream, not expecting him to play specifically well, but to be entertaining, it's a lot better. Like, he plays entertaining games. You can't go in like trying to be like, Purple, what are you doing right now? Don't do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about somebody who likes to do just crazy dumb stuff, sometimes it's him on purpose. So that's fun.
Yeah, the Hearthstone community is great. Like, not even counting the streamers, just like the players themselves. Like people are just consistently cool across like all spectrums of play. So.
Yeah, and people have a lot of respect for each other too. That's what's great. You might practice together, but for the most part, I still think people generally share stuff, whether it's online over Twitter or just in Discord or not. So it's nice. There's not much drama in Hearthstone. So that's why everybody goes crazy when there's some kind of drama.
Yeah, it's
definitely good.
I mean, like that's actually a really good thing that there's so little drama in the scene.
Yeah. So big news, obviously, this last week, with all this expansion stuff, the esports team snuck in a couple days ago that the Grandmaster for Season 2 is going to change. But before that, we had the big announcement that you're going to be replacing Dog in Season 2 of Grandmaster. So congratulations on making it into Grandmaster, man. That's huge.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really cool announcement. I'm a little bit concerned about it because I would like Dog to still be in the league. He's a fantastic competitor, but for me personally, obviously it was like kind of a dream come true. I got to like the highest level of Hearthstone competition, which was what I worked for like the last several years of my life. So can't complain.
Yeah, I mean, you ready to win now? You're ready to win a world championship?
Hopefully. Yeah. Making worlds was not like something that was on the table until the past week or so. So that's just like really weird. It hasn't really like settled in yet.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That'd be amazing, man. World champion of Hearthstone. That's it's pretty. I bet like not having that be a possibility a week ago. Now trying to really wrap your mind around it. It's crazy.
Like if I have a 50% win rate throughout the entire tournament, it's like a 1% chance of happening. So it's like not a high chance, but it's a chance. It's higher than zero.
Yeah. Well, everybody gets a shot. And this year, the world champions at BlizzCon too. So going to be, super hype. Not that the other ones weren't, but there's something about it being at BlizzCon and everybody there that, it's extra special. So I'm glad they're bringing it back to BlizzCon. But yeah, so in terms of Season 2, they also announced some changes here, which let me bring up the actual page. And man, I am so happy about these changes. I'm so happy about the format change. That's the biggest thing for me.
Give me a second to pull this up as well, just so I'm like on the same page as you.
Sure. I'll let me just update folks listening in the meantime. So they announced that they will be changing the format for the Season 2 of Grandmasters. Now, note that this doesn't change the Soul event. The Soul event's still going to be Specialist and what we all expect it to be. But the second season, the Season 2 of Grandmasters, is going to be doing away with Specialist and bringing back Best of 3 Conquest, featuring a shield phase, which is basically you can protect one of your decks. And you still ban a deck, but you can protect a deck too. So it's kind of interesting, obviously, because it's a best of 3. It's not a best of 5 like we're used to. When you're still bringing 4 decks. So there is going to be one deck that's left over, and there will be this like uncertainty as to what that, like if you go 1-1, you have to play that third match, right? There's not sure which deck that will be, right?
I think like level 1 of the format is normally in Conquest, when we had like best of 5 Conquest, where you had a ban and then you had to play all 3 of your decks. The leading strategy in that format was to try to target something that your opponents would be bringing.
Right.
And in this format, you have like a best of 5 in terms of like the amount of decks that you have, but you're only playing a best of 3. So if there's like one deck that they're trying to specifically hard target, you can just like not play that deck the entire series, and you don't like have to worry about that weakest link kind of thing that was going on in previous Specialists or previous Conquest formats.
So that's nice. I didn't even think about it like that. Yeah, that's cool.
It's a very, I think it's going to be a very deep format, or it could just end up being like bring the best decks. But I would need to play more games of it to figure that part out. So yeah, I think the whole targeting thing of Conquest, which I actually wasn't a big fan of. I felt like trying to hard target one deck list is kind of like against not necessarily like the spirit of the game, but it's more interesting when they're like 45-55 matchups instead of like 20-80. You know, like Quest Warrior versus or Odd Warrior versus Quest Rogue just like wasn't a fun game to watch or play. You know what I mean? So stuff like that not being in the equation, I think, is good for the format.
Yeah, I don't think any of us like the rock paper scissors type of situation. So, yeah, definitely would love to see that type of situation where you can outplay the actual matchup versus it just being too high of one that you can't overcome. So there will still be, I think in the later rounds I think best of five will be in play. Yeah, here we go. I think in the playoffs, best of five will return.
Yeah, so this is actually listed under quality of life change, and I don't think it is. I think it actually is pretty important. I think for this new like conquest that they're doing, if they have just specified conquest, that's probably fine. Like you go into an open field, right? So if you start like, and every single game that you play is the shield phase format, right? So you're like, I can't really be hard targeting. Then when you go to like you have to play all three of your decks, and that like matters a bit less, right? Because you wouldn't have gone into the format like trying to hard target something. So when you get to that phase where it could come up, you're not going to have that deck list, and your opponent's not going to have that deck list. So for that, it's fine. I think for specialists, I don't really like best of five. I think that best of five specialist is actually like less skill intensive than best of three specialist. As weird as that sounds, it comes down more to like if you have the counter in your secondary or tertiary deck list. So something like imagine like Bomb Warrior versus Mage in the finals, right?
Yeah.
And Bomb Warrior doesn't have an anti-mage sideboard. Then like you have to play 4 games potentially with like no sideboard, and your mage gets the sideboard in those 4 games instead of just 2.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of best of five specialists, but I think for the new format that they announced is actually really good.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I can tell you, at least for me and people that listen to the show, you guys know how I feel about specialists. So, this change I think is going to be, something great for Grandmasters, because, I was thinking a lot in this first season. It's just like, oh man, with Rise of Shadows coming out and all these different kind of decks, it's like, it'd be great to be able to like see Conquest, that it's like a perfect time for Conquest, and, us not being able to see it, and Specialists still not being completely homogenized, but pretty close. Mage and Warrior were super strong at the end, and we didn't see the Nightmare scenario, but it still could linger there, where it's just like one deck, everybody's playing it kind of thing. It was, we didn't quite see that, and I, to be honest, I didn't think they were going to change it. I thought it was just like, it was all right, in Vegas. It wasn't it wasn't bad. It wasn't. I don't think it was like crazy good, but it wasn't bad, and wasn't enough for me in my mind to like think that Blizzard would actually make a big decision and change the format completely. So, kudos to them. I'm excited to see season 2. Can't wait to watch it. Can't wait to see more decks. Especially with the new cards coming, it's going to be pretty exciting to be able to see a lot more decks, and not just just sideboard basically. So just the tertiary and secondary decks. But okay, anyways, congratulations on that, man. We're gonna be rooting for you for sure. And you know what division? They're swapping the divisions too, right? Like they're changing up first. Yeah.
Here, I need to look at it again, but I think I'm in the same division as Purple and Firebet.
Oh no! Of course you are.
Here. It's somewhere here. I've got I got Strife Pro, Nalgadon, Muzzy, ETC, Purple, Firebat, and Eddie. And I'm friends with a lot of these guys. So
yeah, of course.
It's going to be interesting. I was actually helping Purple prepare for like last season.
Yeah.
Which means that if we play against each other, then I'll have to find someone else to.
Yeah. That's just the nature of it, man. When you guys are top players, you're going to get to a point where you're going to have to compete against each other. So yeah, that's funny. Okay, well, anyways, want to definitely try to get as much of these cards reviewed as possible. So we might as well just get into it, because most people want to hear that right now. So but Grandmasters, guys, definitely check it out when it starts after the Soul event. Which all of that's coming up in the next couple weeks. So get ready for it. It's going to be an awesome roller coaster ride there. Okay, well, let me bring up the cards here. So what we're going to do, guys, we're just going to look at class by class, just all the cards. And again, we're just going to kind of point out the ones that we think are interesting. So I'm not going to read out every card and that sort of thing. I'll just read out the cards that we're discussing. So we're going to start with Druid here. And I mean, we'll probably have to talk about the quests, because obviously the quests I think are pretty obviously unique to each class, and some of them are strong, some of them aren't. So we'll kind of evaluate that. So let's start there. The untapped potential. That's the quest. End 4 turns with any unspent mana, and then your reward is the was that how do you pronounce that? Assyrian tier. Okay. Which Assyrian tier is let me just confirm by clicking on this real quick. It is passive hero power. Choose one cards have both effects combined. So obviously can be really good. So what do you think of this card, Gallon?
I wasn't super excited about it when it first got announced, because they didn't actually like show the choose one cards that were getting printed this set. But when I take a look at like some of its support, it seems like super nuts. It might end up just being that like you play the choose one cards that they printed anyways without the quest, because like, well, we can talk about the cards later, but like Oasis Surger is so incredibly good that like maybe you're supposed to just play untapped potential for it. And the same thing with Crystal Merchant. I would need to like actually like play test it out, but it looks promising. There's like some quests that don't look that promising. Osirian tier is definitely not one of them.
Yeah, the Oasis Surger, which he's talking about, 5 mana, 3/3 elemental rush. Choose one +2/2 on that 3/3, and you summon a copy of the 3/3. So this kind of thing is I feel like is one of the themes or common designs for cards in this set. You know, where it's just like you have a body and then you summon like another body too, like a token as well. So yeah, this being a 5/5 and you get like another 3/3, that's insane. But obviously you'd have to do it a little bit later. The unspent mana thing, do you think that's a tough thing to do? Like, what do you think about that just generally, if you were to run this and have to like really eat the mana?
I think it's like the deck is going to have like on and off turns, right? Like if you design your deck list around this card, then you're going to have like certain turns where it like becomes easy to not spend any mana. I think like normally as a druid, it's pretty easy to like not hero power on turn 2. You're not really doing anything else.
Yeah, that's true.
But when you get to like turn 4, turn 5, turn 6, maybe you should be like spending all your mana. So it's really going to have to like map out its game plan with like the cards that it plays. A lot of times, like in Hearthstone, you don't want to like you want to spend your mana, right?
Yeah.
Like playing turn 3 mana card on turn 3, 4 mana card on turn 4. So it's going to have to like find a way to get around that limitation.
Right. It's kind of interesting they did turns versus just pure mana. You know, they could have done just like have 10 unplayed mana or unspent mana, and having that be the prerequisite, but they actually did turns, which is I think a little bit steeper, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it becomes very awkward to not play your cards at a certain point.
Right. So. Okay, so another thing too that's been I feel like common in this set, obviously because of the Elise and Reno and just all the heroes from the past, is the Highlander. So they brought back Highlander singleton decks, and with Druid they have Elise the Enlightened, which is a 5 mana 5/5. If your deck has no duplicates, duplicate your hand, which is like, I don't love this version of it, but I don't know. What do you think of this?
I think that duplicating your hand is super broken. Like it can be used for really broken stuff. There was someone that posted like this very convoluted OTK. If you have like this certain 5-card hand and you duplicate it, you can actually like kill someone. It takes like 100 actions and there's a bunch of animations, but like maybe you can just like OTK someone. I think Elise is a lot different from the other Highlander cards because it's not necessarily a Highlander card. You could be making like a combo deck that like tries to cycle through its deck list super quickly.
Oh, right. And
then you just end up with like a singleton deck anyways. Right. And then you like craft your hand to combo off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might not necessarily like kill someone in a single turn, but you could still do some broken stuff, like being able to copy your hand.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, it's value, right? Like, I mean, you're just being able to, 5 cards and get an additional 5 cards. I mean, that's going to be
the big one is with Libidinous Sloop, I believe you can actually get infinite value. You play Elise, you copy a Floop, the Floop becomes an Elise, now you have 2 Elises in your hand. So when you play the second one, then it copies the third one, now you have 2 more Elises in your hand. And you keep doing that over and over and over again. So,
that's pretty gross. Wow. Okay. All right. We're definitely going to be seeing YouTube videos of this kind of stuff. That's for sure.
It's going to be some either incredibly janky combo deck or like super powerful and someone's going to, pop off with it and has to get like immediately nerfed. But
yeah.
I think either of those two are like really cool. So
yeah, excited about that. Let's see, anything else that's pretty interesting here? I mean, there's definitely a lot of heal cards.
There's so many broken cards in this
Yeah,
format. Everything is so interesting.
I know, exactly. And throw up another one. Hidden Oasis. What do you think of that one? That's another choose one card. Summon a 6/6 ancient.
I think Hidden Oasis is probably Hidden Oasis and Guard Gnome, I think, are the two worst Druid cards, and Hidden Oasis isn't even that bad.
Exactly. Okay.
So, yeah. The other Druid cards I think Anubisath Defender is very reminiscent of Arcane Tyrant. That was really powerful in Druid before. Crystal Merchant is super nuts. Like, holy cow, Crystal Merchant is crazy good. And then like Bee's a pretty good removal spell, and Tempo Tool. I don't know. Crystal Merchant. The thing about that card is that it's 2 mana, right? So there's a bunch of these like lackey cards in the set, and Face's Lackey pulls a 2 mana card.
Okay.
Face's Lackey can sometimes pull Crystal Merchant, and you're gonna get blown out. That is like
okay. I see.
It is so good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, I mean, you still have the so for those of you wondering, Crystal Merchants, it's 2 mana, 1/4. If you have any unspent mana at the end of your turn, draw a card. So, I mean, you're gonna draw 1 card, right? I mean, so it pulls this, and then it comes up, and then you draw a card, right? And then, I mean, it's basically like Mantide Totem or something. It's gonna die. I mean, people are gonna kill this thing instantly. They're not gonna let this live. Like
compare it to Manatide Totem, right? Like, let's say this was a 3 mana Manatide Totem. Now it just has like +1/+1 compared to Manatide, right?
Yeah.
So, like, in that sense, I think it is super powerful. It's a Manatide Totem with a buff on it.
Yeah, it's crazy. The
crazy.
The power creep is insane, actually.
That's really good, and it works super well at the quest too. So I'd be super surprised if Crystal Merchant didn't see play.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you think Druid is strong? I mean, because this is completely different than what has been strong with Druid, which was the token variation of it.
Druid is in a pretty weak spot right now.
Yeah, for sure.
The cards that they printed are like very busted. So we'll probably see something with Druid this expansion. These cards are like just so good that it might just pull Druid's kind of lackluster basic and classic set into the forefront anyways.
Yeah.
Just on the back of like cards like Oasis Surger, which is even without activating the quest. Oasis Surger is a 5 mana 3/3 that plays another 3/3, and they both have rush. That's like a 3-for-1 for 5 mana, which is it's super busted.
Crazy.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see Druid like come together with this sort of mechanic of choose one or unspent mana. The cards themselves are like very good.
Look at overflow, man. If you're hurting for cards, 7 mana, restore 5 health to all characters, and draw 5 cards.
Yeah.
Like, compare that to Sprint. I mean, it's just like laughable. I mean, it's nuts. Like how much more powerful some of these cards are. I personally love Bees. Bees definitely like was my favorite.
Hey, Chanman,
yeah.
Bees. You gotta
sorry, bees.
There we
the
go.
Exclamation.
Emphasis.
Yeah. No, I actually really love the design of bees, because of how you can use it. There's like so many different ways you can use it, on your own minions or on your opponents. So I'm kind of excited to see, just some of that in action. It's just small things. I tend to like gravitate towards the small things. Okay, so that's Druid. Oh my God, Hunter's next. We start off with the crazy ones, man. Hunter. I mean, watching Hunter today was just kind of crazy. Usually, it's very hyperbolic. Like on the stream, they try different crazy things just to really accentuate a lot of these cards. But definitely, I saw some incredibly powerful things in terms of what the Hunter can do. So we're gonna start off with the quest again. Unseal the Vault. This is summon 20 minions, which is like that's a lot. And then you get the Ramkahen's Roar, which is the +2. It's like Savage Roar.
+2 to all your minions. +2 attack to all your minions.
Yeah, it's basically Savage Roar for 2 mana, which pretty crazy. The fact that you can get Savage Roar any turn you want, and obviously it's like, okay, well, can Hunter steal the board? Well, they've got Swarm the Locust that summons 7/1/1 Locusts with Rush,
which is busted. That card is so good.
I mean, yeah. And then, there's definitely multiple cards. So, what do you think of Hunter?
Unseal the Vault's like super interesting. It's kind of like they reprinted Force of Nature plus Savage Roar, because like now you have Unleash the Hounds plus Ramcan Roar.
Yeah.
So I don't know how good that's going to be. Like maybe it's just going to be too hard to summon 20 minions, but if Hunter gets to the point in the game where they get that hero power, it is going to be so hard to fight for the board effectively as the other person that you'll probably just like get run over. And then I think 20 is a lot, but they also printed Swarm of Locusts this expansion, which is like nuts,
Right.
like for so many reasons. First of all, it summons 7, which is 33% or more of your quests, and it's just a busted card.
I mean, it's got Rush too, so even if you're just using it as removal, right? Like, it's okay. It's not bad.
Like,
you know,
you have turns like Swarm of Locusts. You trade off one of your 1/1 Rush minions. You play a Timberwolf, and now you have like
exactly.
a bunch of 2. It's going to be board clears for sure.
Crazy, man.
It's pretty nuts. So it'll be interesting to see if that works out.
Yeah. So here's their version of you know, the not quite singleton, but you know, if your deck has no duplicates, then summoning Dino Tamer Brand is a 7-mana 2/4. If your deck has no duplicates, it summons King Crush, and it's like, oh yeah, that's nice. That's definitely a nice touch.
Lots of stats for not that much mana.
Right, exactly. And it's King Crush. I mean, come on. You know, it's like extra special because it's King Crush. King Crush should be blue. Like, why is he green in there? Like, I don't even understand that. So
it's pretty interesting too, because like in Wild, you can go Bran into Bran and just summon 2 Crushes.
Yeah,
you got a 2/4, 2/4, 8/8, 8/8.
Oh my god, yeah, exactly. That's just so totally nuts. They've got a pretty interesting card in terms of Wild Bloodstinger. You know, this is kind of like a, I don't know, kind of combo killer, or you know, sometimes some type of deck that's built around one card. This is like the Dirty Rat type of card. You know, it's a 6 mana. It's a 6/9 too. Let's just start there. It's like a 6 mana 6/9, but it summons a minion from your opponent's hand and you attack it. So it actually summons a new copy of it. Is that right, or is it actually the minion?
They play the card from their hand.
Okay, so they actually play the card.
I kind of read it as like it can be like a Boulder Fist Ogre that says Battle Cry. Your opponent discards a card.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's probably going to be. I mean, you're probably going to take more damage than that, but
it could be like a 6/5.
Yeah. You'll probably be something like that, and hopefully it's not a poisonous minion.
Maybe that's like the tech. Maybe like this card is just super good, so people start running, you know, Patient Assassins for some reason.
Yeah. No, but overall, it seems pretty solid to me. You know, it feels like at least a utility card, right? Like if you need to counter some type of deck, there's the ability to do that. So that's definitely nice. I mean, Scarlet Web Weaver here, reduce the cost of a random beast by 5. It's a 6 mana 5/5.
Yeah, it's probably a combo card, right? Like you try to hit a Tundra Rhino or something, and then you have, instead of 5 mana to combo off, now you have 10. And there's probably some broken thing you could do with that. I'm not really sure if this card is going to be great, but it is promising, right?
Really?
It's not front loaded is the problem. It's just not front loaded. 6 mana 5/5 isn't great, but like the Battle Cry is super powerful. Stuff like, well, go back to
if you got like
Forest,
Savannah Highmane, I mean, that's like a one, like you can play that with it, like on turn 7. You know, like I don't know. Sure. It seems, at least with even just a single play, it seems good. Maybe it's not broken because there's not like an obvious choice to have reduced in that way. But
the other problem with it is that you have like the Hunter decks right now play like a bunch of cheap beasts. So when you hit like a Spring Paw, it's not, you know, it's not that great. When you hit a Highmane, it's powerful. When you hit Timberwolf, not so much.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You're definitely going to be missing sometimes. Okay, any other cards here there? Hunter's Pack definitely was discussed quite a bit whenever it came out. Just you know, I think a lot of people thought it was like I don't know, just like a better version of Arcane Intellect, or no, they were talking about Master's Call, right? It was compared to that, but not as good, right? Like
they're both 3 mana draw 3s, but besides that, they're like not at all similar. So I don't know. I was kind of like high up on Hunter's Pack until I saw all the other cards that got printed, and all the other cards are just like so good that Hunter's Pack seems like a bit worse now. Maybe it sees play if like Reno Hunter becomes a thing, or like Highlander Hunter becomes a thing. Okay. But besides that, I'm not sure if this card is actually like good enough with the other cards that they released.
Yeah, feeling like Tempo Hunter is still going to be a thing at all, or what type of hunter do you think is going to be the preferred archetype?
I still think Master's Call Hunter is probably going to be the one that people are going to run, but like maybe it's Master's Call where you run Unseal the Vault and Swarm of Locusts. Like Swarm of Locusts is such a powerful card by itself that it probably slots really easily into a Master's Call Hunter right now.
Yeah,
and
that makes sense.
Doing that just makes Unseal the Vault good enough to run as well. So it'll be interesting.
Okay, yeah, it totally makes sense. Oh, this secret too. This Pressure Plate. Oh my god! After your opponent casts a spell, destroy a random enemy minion. So I mean, you know, it's obviously something you can play around, but if you add that on top of the other secrets that are out there as well, and especially when we're talking about like a, you know, a spell type of hunter, I mean, this is a very powerful secret by itself, just being able to remove, you know, an enemy minion, especially if you're playing like a bigger type of deck. So, yeah, I think that's like crazy good too. Just adding that to the secrets just generally in this, you know, like anything revolving around secrets in this expansion is just nuts, you know, and Hunter didn't get as much as Mage did, but this is still pretty good.
When your deck is hidden information, so like if you're in a tournament and you get to see open deck lists, then it doesn't become as relevant.
Yeah,
but
true.
like on ladder, when you don't know what your opponent is playing, every single secret that's added to the game makes a secret deck better because your opponent has to play around more stuff, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, if you have like 8 secrets instead of 5, suddenly it's like, oh, I can't really play around this one anymore. So
right. Oh, is that better or worse, you think, design wise for secret? You know, because it was kind of nice to be able to sequentially check and you know, instead of just like, oh, it's just random. You know what I mean? Like literally, you know, there's no way to really just
it becomes harder, right?
It
becomes harder to guess, but like that's also kind of skill rewarding in itself, right? Like if you're someone that can guess better against the amount of secrets, then you know, you get the payoff from that. If you play around one that other people can't, then you know,
fair enough.
So it's like it's good and bad, I think.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, well, I'm going to take a real quick break here, and I want to just let you guys know that the episode today is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. For those of you who aren't familiar with ZipRecruiter, it is a job recruiting website that is the best website actually right now in terms of finding candidates, and has the best ratings in terms of being able to find candidates. I've used it before. The way it works is that it aggregates with a lot of aggregates a lot of job boards and kind of brings it to you in all one place. So you're looking for, I don't know, just like an engineer or something like that, you can, you know, create your job posting there, and then it'll send it off to a bunch of job postings, and you literally get emails on that day, like literally a couple hours afterwards. You just start getting a ton of emails back with great candidates. At least my experience of it was great with that. So I think it's 100 leading job boards it sends out to. They have powerful matchmaking technology, so the people that actually that you actually get in the emails have gone through this matching technology that ZipRecruiter has, and so you know, they're just trying to get the best fit for the people looking, and for you if you're actually looking for an employee. And then 4 out of 5 employers say that you know, 4 of the 5 employers that post on ZipRecruiters get a quality candidate within the first day. And that's kind of what I was meaning by like getting all those crazy emails. So anyways, right now, you can actually try ZipRecruiter for free if you go to ZipRecruiter.com/valuetown. Again, that's ZipRecruiter/valuetown. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. All right, so let's move on to another power class, which is Mage. So this one, again, with secrets, is just like insane. But we'll start off again with the quest. Cast 10 spells, which 10 spells ain't too bad. You know, Sorcerer's Apprentice, I've seen turns where they've almost gotten 10 spells before. So 10 spells, you get the Ascendant Scroll. And then the Ascendant Scroll is basically for 2 mana, you add a random mage spell to your hand, and it costs 2 less. So you're using that 2 mana for a discount on the spell. So yeah, overall, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, you're basically always going to be able to get spells from Mage.
I'm not a big fan of Raid the Sky Temple. I think that it's too clunky. The deck that would be running it right now is Mana Cyclone Mage, because that's the one that can actually generate enough spells to get to that point. Problem is that Raid the Sky Temple is a 1-mana do nothing that you have to play to, you know, you have to draw that card every single time, which means you have 1 less card in your hand. And Mana Cyclone Mage is a deck that really, really, really benefits from both A, having cards in their hand for Mountain Giant, and B, cards that aren't do nothing. Like the more cards that do something in your deck, the better Mana Cyclone Mage gets. You know, because a lot of times, like you have these 2-card combos where, you know, you draw one, and then if you draw the other, something becomes super powerful. Stuff like, you know, Mana Cyclone with Elemental Evocation, or Mountain Giant with Conjurer's Calling. When you have Raid the Sky Temple always in your starting hand, it means that you're seeing 3 cards instead of 4 on the play, or 4 cards instead of 5 on the coin. And it's just, I don't think that works in this specific archetype. And I don't think the payoff itself is actually high enough. You know, it's not Primordial Glyph because it's a random spell. So a lot of times it'll just be like something that's totally useless.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm not a big fan of Raid the Sky Temple. I don't think it'll see a high amount of play, just because it's just too clunky to run a quest that does nothing like this in a deck that is so draw dependent, like Mana Cyclone Mage.
Yeah, that makes sense. So quest, not being able to run the quest, that's okay, because they obviously have a lot of different other.
They don't need it.
They don't even need it. Exactly that. So Reno is their hero here, and Reno the Relicologist. This one, this one's a decent removal. It's got, if your deck has no duplicates, deal 10 damage randomly split among all enemy minions. It's a 6-mana 4/6 body too. So.
This card by itself is nuts.
Yeah. So the hunter, when we were just talking about the locust, I mean, you can remove all that, easily, and so I think that Mage has already been pretty good at removing stuff. I mean, it hasn't really been much of a removal type of deck in recent history, because it's just been so mid-range tempo oriented, or just big turns with Conjurer's Call, and things like that. But historically, it's always been pretty good in terms of removal, and I think that we're starting to see some of that return, I think, to the Mage class, especially in the form of secrets. Like we've got play a secret, deal 6 damage, like Cloud Prince, play a secret and do like AoE damage, like Arcane Flak Mage, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions. So it doesn't include your minion. Like a lot of the Mage board clear before, like damage your minions as well. This one's just purely enemy minions. And then we've got the last one, which is like an explosive trap for a mage, which is Flame Ward. It's a secret: after minions attack your hero, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. So yeah, what do you think about all this secret stuff? I mean, is it going to be super good, like for control? Like what kind of mage do you see here in terms of win conditions and stuff like that?
I wasn't excited about Secrets until I saw Ancient Mysteries. I think that card is going to be like the linchpin that seals the deck together if it works. Like being able to play the Secret and the payoff card on the same turn is going to be like so critical for Secret decks.
Yeah,
when you can play like the tempo oriented secrets. Normally, when you play tempo oriented secrets, they get procced. Like your entity, your opponent plays minion, suddenly your Cloud Prince or Arcane Flag Mage, or specifically your Cloud Prince doesn't work. Since now you can just like hold it, play this your mana secret, play the Cloud Prince, suddenly becomes a lot easier to play stuff like Mirror Entity, which is a better secret than something like Ice Barrier in a tempo deck.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, so I mean, most of these cards that I just kind of read off, Ancient Mysteries, by the way, is a 2-mana, draw a secret from your deck, and it causes 0. So it's obviously a great discount. But all these cards, it is like after you play a secret, after you control a secret, and all, like you said, you can actually control that on your turn versus where the value always came on your opponent's turn. So
I think this is like so nuts too. Like this might even see play in Mana Cyclone Mage just because of the fact that, first of all, it's a pretty cheap spell. Ancient Mysteries is a pretty cheap spell, but also the secret is 0 mana. Suddenly you get like another extra spell off your Mana Cyclone for free, which is just,
that's true. Yeah, like we haven't seen enough spells off of Mana Cyclone turns already. So yeah, this is going to make that even more consistent. I agree. Like replacing, it's probably easier to replace a couple cards actually. So yeah, I think that's going to be super cool here. We got Naga Sandwich here. Change the cost of a spell in your hand to 5. Obviously people always think about Pyroblast, but any other candidates that you see like any crazy expensive spell that if it was 5 would be crazy broken?
I think that Pyroblast is like pretty expensive card to run. Like obviously they have Puzzle Box of Yogg-Saron. That looks kind of nuts. Suddenly you have like you pretty much have Yogg-Saron. You got like a 5/5, which is the same thing as a 7/5 really at that point of the game. And, Puzzle Box itself is probably how many spells the Yogg-Saron would cast.
And you also really going to run that? Are you really going to run Puzzle Box Yogg-Saron?
Well, Puzzle Box is like the Yogg-Saron effect we've kind of determined was powerful enough. So if we end up coming to stages where Mage can get to turn 10 pretty reliably, Puzzle Box might just be like a Hail Mary that you have to run because its effect is like so powerful at winning lost games. I think another card that might be played with Naga Sandwich is Power of Creation, because that's like an actual tempo.
Right.
I think like reducing Blizzard from 6 mana to 5 mana isn't going to do too much. Flame Strike from 7 to 5 also isn't like spectacularly powerful, but Power of Creation to 5 mana could be like super good.
Yeah, and I mean, what's cool about this is like it's not changed just like one. It's like change the cost of spells in your hand. Like all of them to 5. So your secrets will turn to 5 too. So that can be obviously a little tricky, but I don't know. It seems like it seems like people will definitely be messing with it and messing around with it at the very least. And there's like a neutral card. What was it? Is it the King? No, the Fair. Is it King Ferris? I think is the name of it. That
Yeah,
it's
something
further
like
down
that.
here. Let me see it.
It might be like Tomb King Ferris.
Yeah,
No, it's
yeah,
just King Ferris.
yeah.
Yep.
King Ferris. And for each spell in your hand, summon a random minion of the same cost. 10 mana 5/5. I mean that could be pretty awesome if you're having like obviously very large spells in your hand. But could be just situational too. It's just like I'm thinking about optimal situations right now and or the ideal situations right now, and that might not ever happen in a real game. But
I mean, I think for Tomb King Ferris specifically, what you're going to see is maybe in a specialist tournament. So like at Masters of Soul,
yeah,
someone is going to bring like an anti-warrior deck, and they're going to cast Luna's Pocket Galaxy, and they're going to have like puzzle boxes in their deck, and they're going to have like Tortolan Pilgrims in their deck. And what they're going to do is like they're going to have like 1 mana King Ferris and 1 mana Tortolan Pilgrim, and be able to do like some stupidly broken stuff with like expensive spells like Puzzle Box Yogg-Saron. Like, can you imagine that as like an anti-warrior sideboard?
yeah. Oh my
King
god,
Ferris.
that'd be amazing. That'd be crazy. So, yeah. I'm excited to see that, man. That like King Ferris is definitely going to be something I do on day one. So Mage seems to be a pretty good candidate for that right now.
Yeah.
All right. So anything else in Mage that you think is worth mentioning? Really cool.
I mean, Dune Sculptor and Tortolan Pilgrim are also very powerful cards. Tortolan, that seems like a post-board anti-warrior kind of stuff for Cyclone Mage. Dune Sculptor, I have a bit more hard time like imagining where it's going to fit in, but like casting a spell and drawing a card has never been bad, right? Like, it might not be as good as Lyra, but it's also like 3 mana. It's 2 mana cheaper than Lyra, right?
I mean, think about that with Mana Cyclone, right? You just play this card, and you have one of those Mana Cyclone turns.
You're going to overdraw.
Yeah, you're going to totally overdraw. But I mean, like, okay, maybe you don't do it on one of those turns, but you do it on like, one of the turns that you don't get crazy discounts.
You do it the turn afterwards. You get a bunch of spells for Mana Cyclone, and then next turn you pay off and you turn them into
you just keep drawing tons of spells every single turn. Yeah, let's just keep it going. Yeah. So that's so fun. It's going to be super fun to play Mage. Okay, so moving on to Paladin here. The quest here is play 5 Reborn minions, which that's pretty easy actually to accomplish. And then the hero power is not as great. It's just summon a 2/2 copy. Well, actually, it's summon a 2/2 copy of a friendly minion. So is that a 2/2 copy of just something on the board right now, or just generally a friendly, just something in your deck? It's
going to be like a Faceless Manipulator kind of effect, where you have to have a minion in play and then you can copy it.
Okay, and so that could be really good, obviously, with I don't know, Death Rattle minions, like even like Sahed's Pride, here. But you're not going to get it until like a lot later, I guess. So
I'm not a big fan of like Paladin cards. The Paladin cards I've seen are like kind of lackluster compared to just like how powerful the rest of the set is, which is kind of crazy to say because like the Paladin cards aren't bad. Raisin Zealot's a great 1-drop, whenever you summon a minion, you attack.
Yeah.
And, like Sandwasp Queen is also not that bad. 2 mana 3/1 add 2/2/1 Sandwasp to your hand, but I just think that
not bad doesn't cut it. Yeah.
So Sir Finley is busted. Sir Finley in a Reno Paladin deck is going to be busted, but I'm not really sure if like Reno Paladin is where it's at. Well, works.
Yeah.
And then Tip the Scales is like, it's reminiscent of Anything Can Happen, right? But the problem is Anything Can Happen only had to run like 5 Murlocs for the combo to work, and then you had the 2 Anyfins. This you have to run like a dedicated Murloc Paladin deck, which is it's not. Murloc Paladin isn't like the best tempo deck of the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I don't like cards like Tip the Scales. Like, I mean, I just generally, I mean, they're good. They're definitely good. I just generally don't like the design of just like, hey, play this card and you place, it's just 7 things pop on the board. And actually somebody mentioned, Nomi Murloc Paladin. That could definitely be something. Not a huge fan of Nomi.
I don't think Tip the Scales would be that scary, because it's going to be like a Murloc Paladin deck will have to have like a bunch of cheap Murlocs in their deck for the skills to be good. And suddenly you have like a really wonky build where, you have this 8 mana card alongside your 2 and 3 mana cards, and you don't really have like a way to bridge that gap. So
yeah, but let's just say it is 8 mana, so you'll have to have played a ton of Murlocs before you even get to this card. So I don't know, maybe one time, you basically load up one time, and then the second time you might not even have that much ammo left, like to run 2 Tip the Scales. But yeah, so I'm sure it'll have some degree of power, but I mean, like a decent amount of power. But yeah, I don't necessarily see that, especially with all the removal. There's so much removal now in every single class, or at least all but like a few classes, that this type of fill the board, just like once or twice isn't enough. You got to be able to fill the board like 4 or 5 times, like Druid, it's, been recently, and the ability to do that sort of thing, to really have an effect in terms of having that kind of winning condition. But Sir Finley, you mentioned before, Sir Finley is a 2-mana 2/3 Murloc. If your deck has no duplicates, discover an upgraded hero power, and that's a battle cry. So you don't want to lose Sir Finley and tip the scales, that's for sure. Like Sir Finley's just too dang good for the battle cry.
I don't think a Rito Murloc Paladin is a real thing. Just because Sir Finley has
true too. That's true too.
So it's gonna be interesting. No, I think Sir Finley is kind of like Keleseth in that you're gonna have like this really hard restriction on yourself, right? But when you draw it on turn 2, it's like super busted.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Keleseth. I just don't like playing that against that card. When my opponent drew Keleseth against me, I'm like, all right, it's one of those games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Sir Finley kind of has the same thing, where if they don't draw, it's like, cool, it's Reno Paladin, it sucks. But when they draw Sir Finley, it's like, oh no, they drew the card that works. So this game is just so much harder now. So yeah, I don't know. It is a powerful card though. Sir Finley by itself is a powerful card. Like a lot of Reno decks would love to have this card in their deck. So
yeah,
it might need more things, but this is a good start.
To be honest, I think Paladin got screwed like big time in this expansion. Yeah. These cards are like they're not even. Not only do they not measure up to this expansion standard, they don't really even measure up to like Rise of Shadow standards, which was already like a very I'd say a much less powerful type of expansion. So this. Yeah, I don't know who designed that or decided to pick these cards.
One super powerful removal spell in Subdue. Like Subdue is like really good. 2 mana, set of minions attack and health to 1. Like compare that to a Hunter's Mark, for example, which sees a lot of play. Suddenly you get a Hunter's Mark and Humility at the ssame time.
But I'm used to 2 mana equalities back in the day. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Because this is like
Paladin not in the set.
Yeah. So. Obviously that was crazy broken, but still, like just Subdue seems subdued to me. It's good, no question, and it can work great with Pyro and those type of things. But yeah, overall, I just don't see any broken cards, and that's like what this expansion is going to be measured upon. So, Paladin decks have been relatively powerful, just currently. But I don't know if they're going to be able to keep up, after that. We might not see any Paladin like move after this expansion or during this expansion time. Okay, well, let's move on to Priest here. Okay, so Priest, up until now, obviously Resurrect was a huge element of Priest, but, Reborn, I think, has kind of replaced that a little bit here. We're definitely seeing a couple Reborn things from a thematic standpoint, but the quest here, Activate the Obelisk. So this was like announced like this past week, or this was revealed this past week. It's restore 15 health, which that's not hard at all, actually, if you count all these like heal all minions or friendly minions. And the reward is Obelisk's Eye, which is it's a heal 3, or like restore health for a friendly character or friendly minion. So you can restore like your hero, or you can restore a character, but or a minion. If it's a minion, you'll actually get a +3/+3 buff as well. So I think a lot of people don't like this. Like the hero power. I think the hero power is good. Like I don't get it. Like people are saying Dinoman, they compare it to Dinomancy and things like that. I'm like, no way. Like you get 3. I mean, you heal yourself first off. You can actually have the choice. You can actually heal and you get an extra 1/1 buff on it compared to Dinomancy. So, yeah. What do you think? You think this card's bad too, or not?
I think the hero power is good. The hero power is good. I think the quest itself is actually really difficult to complete. Restoring 15 health.
Okay.
It's just so hard, man.
With Circle and Pyro and like really?
Well, the thing about it is when you get like Northshire Cleric, Wild Pyromancer, Circle, the problem that game isn't that you like don't have a quest to complete, right?
Yeah.
Because when you draw a Wild Pyromancer Circle Cleric, you probably won anyways, because that's like kind of the high roll of the deck, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The problem is when you don't draw those cards.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
And
but yeah.
Activate the Obelisk isn't helping that at all. You know, it's like it's good when you get the good draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same problem as the Mage Quest has, which is those kinds of decks rely so much on like the initial cards that they see.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, you're one card away from completing a 2-card combo that like lets you kind of pop off with the amount of cards that you draw. You know, maybe you need the Circle of Healing or the Northshire Cleric, and when you have this 1 mana do nothing for, you know, the first 8 turns of the game, suddenly that's a lot harder to meet that condition.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not a big fan of it. Maybe there's like it could be one of those things where like later on, you know, a couple expansions from now or 1 or 2 expansions from now, they have a way of like really easily restoring 15 health, and suddenly this card becomes busted. I'm just not sure if like with the current cards in play that this is going to be a good quest.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think I could. That makes sense. I mean, being able to heal yourself 3 is pretty good too. You know, like given against certain decks. So it'll be.
Well, the other problem is like when your opponent knows that you're gonna activate the Obelisk deck, maybe they just don't attack you. You know, like have something.
That'd be funny. Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
There is some play around it as well. So I don't know. Activate the Obelisk, I'm not super sold on, but there's a ton of really good priest cards.
Totally. I mean, even the one right next to it here, High Priest. I don't know if this is good, but I think this is. Oh, I mean, you think it's busted? I think it's like super cool, like design wise. Like definitely, like really awesome. It's a 4 mana 2/7. Whenever you summon a minion, its health is equal to this minion. So, talk to me.
I can't wait for the turn where someone goes like coin High Priest Amit Wisp.
Exactly right.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. What I've seen so far from this card, it's like the application is specifically with Divine Spirit Interfire. You can go High Priest Amit, Stone Tusk Spore, and then just like Divine Interfire. And the card itself, its power level is like just so high that you can like just play it on turn 4, which is like the hallmark of a good combo card when you can like play it without the other parts of the combo. Like it's a good tempo card, it's a good combo card, it's probably a good control card. You just play High Priest Amit, Acolyte of Pain on turn 7, suddenly you have like 5 extra cards in your hand.
Just play like a cleric. I mean, a freaking Northshire Cleric's pretty dang
like
awesome.
5 mana, 2/7, and 1/7. I know. Like tempo wise, it's great. Value wise, it's great. I think High Priest Amit is like mega busted.
A definite auto add to I think Priest in my opinion. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's see. Yeah, Plague of Death we talked about last time. Just outright removal. I mean, I don't know how you can keep something on the board with that. That is pretty much destroy everything.
Plague of Death is no Psychic Scream. Psychic Scream was busted. This card is probably all right. It might like
just because of the extra 2 mana or
yes, extra 2 mana is a big deal. Yeah, because usually you get hit in the face for like 15 extra damage from 7 to 9 if you don't deal with the board. Like and the decks that we saw Psychic Scream in earlier, it was something where you wanted to do like Psychic Scream on turn 7 or turn 8, and then you had the turn 9 Xerx's Cloning Gallery where you win the game on the spot. Right. You know? So it was a really good bridge the gap kind of tool where, you know, you were in a little bit of trouble, you play Psychic Scream, and that just disappears.
Yeah. It's never really an issue of actually destroying it. It was just more of an issue of just, you know, like there was never fatigue. Fatigue was
Mana is really important. Mana is really important.
Yeah, for sure.
Psychopomp is nuts. That card is like so good. It's crazy.
Yeah, summon a random friendly minion that died this game. Give it Reborn is the battle cry for it. I mean, it's obviously a tiny body. And Psychopomp, if you run 2 of them, obviously affect the Reborn stack there.
People were playing people were playing like Injured Blademaster just so that they could go what's the card? Not Ancestral Spirit.
Blademaster?
No, the 4 mana discover a minion that died this game and resurrect it.
Ancestral dude, I can't remember.
It might not be Ancestral. It might be you know the card that I'm talking about, right?
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
4 mana discover. I mean, here, I'll look it up really quickly. Eternal Servitude. That's the name.
Oh, yeah, Eternal Servitude.
Okay. Golly, this is like an Eternal Servitude, if you play Injured Blademaster, that summons a 3/1 and also gives your 4/7 Reborn, which is like 2 extra mana worth of stats, which is busted. It's really good.
Yeah, that's super good.
So Cycle Pump, the second one gets a lot worse, right? Because like once this first Cycle Pump dies, and suddenly your Cycle Pump becomes like less,
of course,
less consistent. But the first one is really good.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be hard. I mean, it's super sticky. Whatever that play, you're going to have something on the board. Like
you got board control for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually no, the Plague of Death actually silences. So yeah, Plague of Death is actually just. I'm trying to think of like ways that people can still live after Plague of Death, but no, I can't think of anything. Okay, some of these things like Reborn to this Grand Mummy, that seems like a maybe a good arena card, but
Grand Mummy, it's like a weird tempo tool, right? Because like you compare it to a Haunted Creeper, you know, it's a 2-mana 1/2, kind of like Haunted Creeper, and when it dies, it only summons 1/1/1. But then you have like +1/+1 distributed over 2 minions. So like, if this was in Zoo, like if this was in Warlock, there were times where this card would have been nuts, right?
Right. Yeah.
So if there's like some weird tempo priest deck, Grand Mummy could see play.
Yeah, I don't see any other attributes that would be a good.
Yeah, it's like a Zoo card. The problem is like priest isn't a Zoo class, so you know, I don't think this card will like do it, but maybe they print a bunch of other aggressive priest cards like Mind Blast.
Exactly.
So.
Wretched Reclaimer, 3-mana 3/3 Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion, then return it to life with full health. So you know, I'm trying to think of like situations where maybe Ahmed. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's
or you just play Grand Mummy into Wretched Reclaimer. That's powerful.
Grand Mummy into rest. Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you play the Wretched Reclaimer, right?
Yeah.
I believe how it works is when you kill a minion with Reborn, you get a 1/1.
Yep.
And you also get a minion with Reborn back.
Right. That's right.
So you play Wretched Reclaimer, you kill your Grand Mummy, your Wretched Reclaimer becomes a 4/4. And now you have a 1/1 and a 1/2 with Reborn.
Yeah, that's solid.
And
it's definitely a solid turn. Yeah.
So
it's like a 4/5 basically, and yeah, that's actually pretty darn good. Let's see what else here. Deal 1 damage to all enemy, restore. So this is kind of one of these restore things, but it might be good against like any.
It's no Spirit Lash. Holy Ripple seems kind of lackluster.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually, you know, it's kind of bad that it doesn't affect your own.
Yeah, right. Like you kind of want to hit your players so your Acolyte pain. So
yeah, exactly. What do you think of Sandhoof Waterbearer? This 5-mana 5/5 at the end of your turn, restore 5 health to damage. It's like a well, like a light well, basically.
It reminds me more so of Ragnaros the Light Lord, right? Because it's like a mini rag. So this is a card that you definitely play in the quest deck, right?
Yep.
Because it's just like 1/3 of your quest is done. It's also like a pretty decent tempo tool.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It would see play in stuff like Spiteful Priest for sure, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Spiteful.
So I don't know. Again, it's more of a tempo card than a combo card or a control card. So if there's a tempo priest deck, maybe Sandhoof Waterbearer sees play.
Yeah, I mean the bad thing about this card is that it can heal face. Actually, you know, if it was guaranteed minion, it would be. I think it would be crazy, especially in arena. It would be just broken in arena, like.
Maybe, right? Because like Shield Maiden was a super powerful card when it was
but that's guaranteed, right? Shield Maiden's guaranteed armor. Like you're guaranteed to get 5 health out of that. This isn't guaranteed that.
It isn't guaranteed, but it's 1 mana less. So you know, like there is some trade off there. So
yeah,
maybe it is still good, even though it can heal face.
Right. Anything else here? I mean,
Penance is like a super good removal tool.
Oh, Penance. Yeah,
like,
Penance.
It's just a Warlock hero or Gul'dan hero power.
Yeah, that's true. It was good. Embalming Ritual, I mean, putting Reborn on something, that could be super good. I mean, depending on what it is.
It might be like some weird combo thing where, you know, you have a really powerful minion that when it dies, it does something super good.
Yeah.
Test Subject, for example, right? Because when you play a Test Subject with Embalming Ritual and
you get
you can go like Embalming Ritual, Topsy-Turvy the O2, and it summons back an 0/1 Test Subject, but you now have a Topsy-Turvy and a Embalming Ritual in your hand, right?
Yeah.
So for like 1 additional mana, you can like make infinite of a certain type of spell.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So who knows? Maybe that's good enough.
Man, Topsy-Turvy back. That would be pretty
Yeah, you keep
crazy.
getting like embalming rituals and Topsy
Yeah,
Fury.
yeah, that'd be
You could
pretty
do
cool.
something where you go like embalming Topsy, and then suddenly you can get infinite embalming rituals.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
APM back, man. APM Priest is definitely maybe back with this. That'd be pretty fun to watch again.
So who knows?
Yeah.
That could be something. Could be something there.
Okay, so let's move on to Rogue here. Rogue, we've got Bizarre Burglary, which was shown today. Oh no, actually not. Yeah, this was shown today. Add 4 cards from other classes to your hand, which is super easy, obviously, to do. There's so many cards that do that nowadays. And then you get Ancient Blades, and Ancient Blades is a 3/2. For your hero power, it's a 3/2 that makes you immune to damage. So like the hero doesn't take any damage. Pretty good early. I mean, super good if you can get it early, and then it probably loses, steam and power as the games kind of goes on, and there's like larger minions. But
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like an early game quest. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a quest where even if you complete it early, it's not like immediately game winning.
Yeah.
And then it's not like the other quests where as the later the game goes on, the more what's the word for it? There's somewhere that it's on the tip of my tongue, but inevitability. It's not like it has inevitability the same way Quest Rogue or like the previous Quest Rogue has.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like even the Ramkan Roar from Hunter has.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So
it's not a win condition. It's just added.
It's like an aggressive tool, but the deck that you build it for isn't going to be immediately aggressive. So it's like not going to be problematic in that way, I would say. It got a lot better when they announced Clever Disguise today, which is like a 2-mana add 2 random spells from another class to your hand, because that card actually makes it like
it's right here. It's on here. It's like halfway done, like when you do it, right? Like on turn 2. So
I think if you're talking about Bizarre Burglary, you have to bring up Clever Disguise, because that was the card that they made where you actually have like a reasonable chance of completing Bizarre Burglary on time.
Yeah.
So
so you do I think that I think people would try that out. I don't know how powerful. We'll have to see what kind of rogue ends up taking it. But Ankh, the Buried, the other legendary 5-mana 5/5 battle cry, change each Death Rattle minion in your hand into a 1/1 that costs 1. So we were talking about this a little bit, and you mentioned.
What about Mechathoon rogue?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You can change.
Mechathoon, exactly. Like Mechathoon, if we I don't know. Can you? Yeah, actually, Mechathoon would work if you drew it. If you drew
Myra's,
well, you have to draw both of them, right? You have to draw Mechathoon in this, right?
Yeah.
And then you could just Myra's after that, and then you'll be good to go, right? Or at least on your way there.
So that's maybe there's like some jank Mechathoon rogue deck that you can make with them.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool. But yeah, this card is pretty exciting. We definitely see like these 1/1 type of things with Rogue. I don't know if we've seen, quite a crazy powerful, a Rogue based on that quite yet. But
we did see one that has rotated, unfortunately. So in Wild, you can do something like a la. Do you know the board control big Rogue that he made with like Carnivorous Cube and like a bunch of Death Rattle minions, and you had like Nectarine.
Oh yeah, right, yeah.
So like in Wild,
true.
Carnivorous Cube is actually a Death Rattle minion. It has Battle Cry and Death Rattle.
Yeah.
So you can go Anka, and then you get like a big Death Rattle minion, and then Carnivorous Cube, and suddenly you have on turn 7 1-mana Death Rattle minion, 1-mana Carnivorous Cube, and then you just play your Nectarine Vial, and suddenly the board is massive. So
can you imagine a Carnivorous Cube existed in this expansion? Oh my god, it would be so broken. Yeah, that was insane card. Wasn't even talked about enough, to be honest, during that time. Maybe we just were lucky that it didn't just absolutely dominate every single type of class. All right, let's see the next thing here. Let's see if there's anything that's Socket Sapper. 4-mana 4/4 pirate. Death Rattle, return a random enemy to your opponent's hand. It's pretty good, man. If you can trigger that Death Rattle. I mean, because I could see maybe trading this, or and then it's either your opponent has just to kind of like really take their medicine and obviously kill this and then have something removed, or you, if you control it, it could be potentially game winning tempo wise. So
it seems like a kind of nuts arena card, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not sure if it's good enough for standard. Okay. I think that its stat line might just be a little bit too awkward. But in Arena where people like have to play minions, this card is great. So
yeah. Let's see those last things. Scimitar, not too much there.
I think that Shadow Death might be super interesting, like a combo style deck with like
Okay.
Leroy Jenkins, for example. Like maybe you run a you get like King Togwaggle, right? You get Wondrous Wand. You get like a pretty empty deck. You go Leroy and you step your Leroy. Suddenly you have a 3-mana Leroy, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You go Leroy, Shadow Death your Leroy. You Wondrous Wand, you get 3 more Leroys. And then you play 3 0-mana Leroys. You suddenly have 48 damage in play, I believe. Wait, 42 damage in play for 10 mana.
Okay.
So there is something there with Leroy Jenkins or other charge minions.
It's interesting that they did shadows. You know, like they shoveled 3 shadows in your deck, and that summons the thing that you copied instead of just having the cards themselves. You know, just be copied back. That's kind of interesting that they did that. So they're not. Wait, so somebody in the chat...
Does it not work like that? Does it?
No, the shadows aren't actual minions though. So the wand won't draw you.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I thought they like added.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a nuance, obviously, to it because they're shadows and they're not the actual minions themselves. So
gotcha.
That's pretty interesting. I mean, it's cool.
I would need a second card again to revisit what I was thinking about with that. But,
yeah. That's the thing about this expansion. Like, I feel like they introduced a lot of different types of cards. You know, like there lots of different things. I mean, including even old stuff too. It's like old with a bunch of new concepts and designs. So this is definitely just a tiny bit different, but it's going to be impactful, you know, in terms of how people kind of play around or use it and play around it. Okay, well, I mean,
another thing, last thing about Rogue is Pharaoh Cat is like also just a fantastic 1-drop.
Okay, add a random reborn minion. Okay, yeah.
Like, with Swashbuckler, Babbling Book, Firefly, you know, like this is just a good 1-mana card. It's a card that you can play on turn 1 as tempo, which is not like normally a Hearthstone deck can afford to do right now. Like in the current metagame, 1-drops are just like not impactful enough because you have to spend a card to play them. But you're not really spending a card to play Pharaoh Cat, right?
Yeah.
So generally that kind of effect is like really powerful in Hearthstone where you can develop tempo without losing value. So I think that card will see play as well.
Okay, yeah, cool. All right, another quick break here. I just want to let you know this episode is also sponsored by Manscaped, and this one's not for the ladies. This is definitely for the men here that are listening. So Manscaped is they're number one in men's below the belt grooming. I don't know if you're familiar with that gallon or not, but Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. So I don't know if the guys out there, I don't know if you guys experience it, but nicking yourself in that jewels area is like some of the most painful things that you'll feel as a man. Obviously it's not like childbirth with women or anything like that, but it's definitely one of those things that can be extremely painful. And Manscaped has designed this has a new design for like an electric trimmer that they have, the Lawnmower 2.0. It's got proprietary skin safe technology, so this trimmer won't nick you or snag you or anything like that. And accidents are a thing of the past. Manscaped also has this crop preserver. It's for deodorant and moisturizer. Like we use that on our face. Like why not use that also in our the areas down below. So you can get 20% off and free shipping with the code ValueTown at manscaped.com. Always use the right tools for the job, and your jewels will thank you. So check that out.
Great tagline.
Yes, I know. They actually said your balls will take you, but I just kind of changed it a little bit.
I like that change.
Yeah. Valuetown's family friendly, so trying to keep it that as much as possible. But yeah, anyways, check that out, guys. Manscaped.com. All right, so moving on to Shaman, we've got Corrupt the Waters, which is the quest. This is play 6 Battlecry cards, which Shaman has so many Battlecry cards like right now. And then the reward is Heart of Virnal, which is hero power. Your Battlecry's triggered twice this turn. So that's powerful. I mean, like having the ability to have Battlecries go off twice. 6 Battlecries, obviously, you're not going to be able to play 2 Battlecries typically in a turn. So it'll probably take you 6 turns to actually complete that quest. but at least 6 turns plus. So, but getting that's really strong. I mean, when you think about like, was it the spirit for it's a rogue, right? That has the no.
Spirit of the Shark?
Yeah.
Yeah, Spirit of
Yeah,
the
Spirit of
Shark
is Battlecry, right? Double Battlecry and kind of death and all things. Yeah, I mean, super powerful. And again, Shaman's got an array of Battlecry, not to mention the neutrals. I mean, there's like so many that I think just being able to do that every single turn for 2 mana is incredible. So what do you think about this?
I think that from what I've seen is like people are trying to like combo off with it with like you get 2 Kobold Lackeys, the 1 mana deal 2 damage, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You play Heart of it, or you activate Heart of Vernal. You play 2 Kobold Lackeys. You deal 8 damage to your opponent, and then you Barista Lynch those Kobold Lackeys back to your hands.
Okay.
Suddenly you get 4 Kobold Lackeys.
Right.
And the next turn you go like Hero Power, 4 Kobold Lackeys. That's 16, and then you play your Weaponized Wasp for an extra 6 afterwards. So you get 8 damage on the first turn, and like 24 on the second, or 16. Geez, 22 on the second.
Right.
So, which is an exact 30. It's like it's a 2-turn. It's not
sick.
2 TK, it's a 1 TK, I guess. So.
1 TK, yeah. Right.
I don't know. It's interesting, right? Like maybe there's like some value Shudderwock Shaman deck that uses this. Although Shudderwock Shaman is 9 mana, and the Hero Power.
Yeah, I mean Shudderwock. The Shudderwock itself, I don't think would matter that much.
Yeah, but you still would play these together, right?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I've definitely played Battlecry Shamans without Shudderwock, in more control oriented ones, because Shudderwock just, I don't know, it just doesn't do anything after a while. When you get to a certain point with a lot of removal cards and things not like that, but yes, Weaponized Wasp, you mentioned 3 mana, 3/3 beast. Battlecry, if you control a lackey, you deal 3 damage. That's
so good.
That's crazy good. That's Fire Elemental at 3.
So good. It's not like lackeys are bad cards, right? Like we've kind of established that lackeys are good cards. So it's not like the situational kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, Shaman has cards now that encourage it, right? So we have that card, Evil Totems, at the end of your turns, add a lackey to your hand. That we saw a couple weeks ago for the first time. So there's a lot more that are supporting that, just encouraging people to play lackeys in the Shaman. The thing I'm most excited about in terms of the Shaman is that they're actually supporting totems again. Like not just like give us a random totem and then like literally you do nothing with totems. Like there's literally no other cards that do anything for totems. Now we actually see the Splitting Axe that's Battlecry summon copies of your totems on the board. But finally, we get something that buffs totems attacks, Totemic Surge. After Flametongue Totem got basically nerfed, like we haven't really been seeing it much. So this is a 0 mana spell that gives all your totems +2 attack.
Which is like, well, Totemic Might, which is the one that gave your minions +2 health, was terrible. But this is like so much better than that card that like it might see play. 0 mana, give a minion +2 attack would see play, right?
Yeah.
The problem is that totems are generally like you spent mana that you didn't want to spend, right? Like totems is generally, I couldn't really have done anything this turn. So if they print more totems that are like Totem Golem, for example, suddenly this card might just like be nuts, 0 mana +2 attack is nuts. So
yeah, I mean even Evil Totem, to be honest, like that would be like you'd really there's the tough pill to swallow, to get that lackey when it's just a 0/2 totem by itself, and there's no way of buffing it outside of like a wolf or something, like a dire wolf or something like that. But now, if it does kind of synergize with like you said, a hero power that you generally, it was just like a waste. Maybe you get the you get the spell power, or maybe you get the heal or the taunt sometimes, but for the most part, it wasn't very impactful. Like the Shaman hero power, it's kind of gotten weaker and weaker over time. In terms of Hearthstone.
Yeah. Shaman hero power has been like kind of lackluster for quite a while now.
Yeah. So they've never given us the ability to choose the totem. So the fact that it's still random, it's just like
which would be busted.
Yes, it would be busted. But so I'm just glad that there's something. It doesn't have to be too powerful like Thunderbluff. Like I'm glad it's not Thunderbluff necessarily, but at the same time, it needed something. So that's definitely good.
Shaman got a lot of good cards this expansion. Plague of Murlocs is actually like very powerful. Sandstorm Elemental is just like a Maelstrom portal in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it is. Deal 1 damage to all enemy minions and overload 1. Yeah, that's true. And it's a 2/2 body too, which is, bodies are nice when you get the same effects as what used to be spells. But Plague of Murlocs, I'm excited about. I can't wait to see, like, basically the whole like hunter boards or something being turned into Murlocs, or some type of crazy, I don't know, crazy buffed minions being turned into Murlocs.
And the other thing is, like, Earthquake for a control deck is like a Flame Strike that deals 3 extra damage and also clears Reborn minions. Like, what the heck? The card is so good.
Yeah.
Like, when you compare Earthquake to Flame Strike, home.
I mean, it does 7 damage too. Like, I mean, straight up, it just does 7 damage, and then
7.
And then it does it in a way that can remove like Reborn and some Death Rattle minions too. So, yeah, I mean, Earthquake. I mean, because we lost, we did lose one big removal this last year. So I think Shaman, definitely could use it, because the scheme is, I really like how the scheme works, but man, there are definitely times I just get caught, completely. It's just like the scheme comes later and I'm just screwed. Like I just don't have that full board removal that I wish I had. So, this just makes it really consistent. You're just going to always, if you need it, it's there now for you to put in an extra, set of removal here. Do you play this over scheme now? Like, what do you think?
I think you play it alongside scheme, right?
Okay. Yeah,
that would be my guess. Yeah, maybe there's like some big. There's big spell mage before. There's some big spell shaman now.
Yeah.
Earthquake slot in quite nicely.
We were just talking about Totemic Surge. Vecina, the other legendary 4-mana 2/6, this like synergizes with Overload and does the same thing. Like while you're overloaded, your other minions have +2 attack. That's great. Like
Vecina is in a vacuum just like a very powerful card. 4-mana 2/6, not like the best stat line, but not bad at all, right? Like 4-mana 2/6s don't normally die.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's attached to, if you play an Overload card, Savage or your other minions, that's not bad at all. No. Like Vecina turn 4, coin Plague of Toads or Reign of Toads. Suddenly you have 3, 4, 6 taunts, or 3 4/4s in play. So
yeah, I mean, I could just even see. I mean, the Plague of Murlocs is going to be so interesting, man. Like you just like get one turn, you attack everybody off of the +2 attack that you get from Vecina or from the. From Totem Surge, you attack that, and then you just like roll the dice for Plague of Murlocs and see what happens. That'd be pretty.
Yeah, or maybe like a couple extra warriors.
Yeah. Or maybe you attack with the totems first, then you roll the dice with Plague of Murlocs, and then you play Vecina and see what happens. I mean, it's gonna be pretty funny. Okay, anything else here? Yeah, this Mugu Flesh Shaper I didn't think was too great.
It's you're what you're gonna be doing with Mogu Flesh Shaper is you're gonna be playing like you're going to be using this as like a value trade minion, and then you're going to mutate it into a random 8-drop, right? Because like it's going to be super cheap. It's going to be like 2 or 3 mana. You play it, you hit, and you mutate into an 8-drop, and then you try to get like Octosari or something enormous.
I don't know. It's like for it to actually be worth it, it needs to at least be 3 mana, right? And that takes 4 minions on the board to accomplish that.
At 3 mana, it is a really powerful card, and 4 minions on board happens often enough where like sometimes like you won't be able to play it, but next turn you will, and it won't be too big of an issue. I don't know. My verdict is still out in Mogu Flesh Shaper. I think the person that will do the best job of abusing this card is a Jombre, if you know him.
Of course.
He made like this really weird mutate evolve shaman.
Yeah, I loved it.
A few weeks or months ago that had like former champ mutate. So I'm sure they'll come up with like something equally as spicy with this card.
That's something that people always overlook. I mean, they made these cards on purpose for that reason, So it would be cool to see some more of those fun mutate and evolve type of plays. Okay, so Warlock here. Kind of trying to move a little bit quicker here because we're kind of going over now.
Sorry,
let's see. So quest for Warlocks: draw 20 cards. Tome of Origination: draw 20 cards is just that's a lot. I mean, obviously,
plot twist, right? It's exactly plot twist.
Yeah, we have to play plot twist. Exactly. And if the hero power that you get is draw a card for free, basically, right? Like.
We saw this on a 6-mana card before. I believe it was called what's the name of the gnome? Do you know who I'm talking about?
Which one?
Wilfred Fizzlebang, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that card saw no play at all. So this is the effect itself wasn't like powerful enough to justify running like a 6 mana card, right? So maybe at 1 mana it is, but you're also running Plot Twist, which is like a 27% win rate kind of deck. So,
right. Yeah, this is one quest where I just don't see anybody playing this. It's going to be pretty rough. But like in terms of the Warlock cards, I don't know. The power level is quite the same as some of the others, but I really like the design of some of these cards, like Plague of Flames. I actually think this is a really cool card. Like 1 mana.
Flames is super powerful.
Oh
right?
yeah, okay, maybe it's super powerful, but destroy all your minions. For each one, destroy a random enemy minion. I just like the fact that you can set that up. You know what I mean? Like you can actually just dump stuff on the board, lackeys or whatever, and then just like remove that, and then it takes some setting up to remove instead of just, hey, 7 mana, remove the board. So I really like this because it allows you guys to be able to have to think more, and set things up that way. And I wish Hearthstone generally was more like that. So I really like that card.
It gets you thinking about how to build your deck because you have to do things that are counterintuitive to make the card good.
Yeah,
like they go against the grain of what like a normal Hearthstone game wants you to do. So yeah, I agree with you. Steel Flames is really cool design like that.
Yeah, lots of destroy cards here. Like we got Embalming, destroy a minion, and shovel 3 worthless imps, and then we've got Rift Cleaver, 6 mana, 7/5 demon. Just battle card, destroy a minion. Your hero takes damage equal to its health. Something we've seen in the past as well. So yeah, definitely.
Just a bunch of good cards, right?
Yeah, they don't have a problem removing single targets. That's for sure. Anything? Oh, here's the big card, right? The Dark Pharaoh Takan. Everybody's talking about that because it was just like Rogue Quest back, a little bit of Rogue Quest coming back kind of thing. 5 mana, 4/4. Rest of the game, your lackeys are. This is a battle cry. The rest of the game, your lackeys are 4/4. So that's.
I'm not like super excited about Dark Pharaoh Takan. I think that there aren't enough lackey generators for this to be like as powerful as a Rogue Quest or like even close to that level. Like it's a fine card. I just think that Zoo can do slightly better things than this right now. Like when you look at for example Neferset Thrasher, that's like a 3 mana Yeti, or Evil Recruiter. It's like the thing about Evil Recruiter, right, is you want to play your lackey to make Evil Recruiter good, and then when you play your lackey, you got a 5/5 instead of a 4/4 for 3 mana instead of 5. So I don't know. I don't think Dark Pharaoh Takan really slots into the most powerful Zoo deck list. Maybe like later, because how in next expansion they're going to be printing like a new lackey and probably more lackey generators.
Right.
Dark Pharaoh suddenly becomes worth it, but right now I don't think it has quite enough lackey generators to be the tier 1 Zoo archetype.
Yeah. No, yeah, I think I agree with that. It's about speed, and this is this is definitely something where the lackeys will. I mean, it is at 5, so you'd have to eat that turn, and it's not super expensive, so I think people will have to weigh that in terms of just getting that extra value from the lackeys. But yeah, like you said, Evil Recruiter is super good, and in Neverset Thrashers, health is definitely not an issue for Warlocks early on, so. Neverset, by the way, guys, 3 mana, 4/5, and whenever this attacks, deal 3 damage to your hero. It's going to be interesting to see how many times we're willing to really eat that, because we don't have a minion right now that buffs on damage, do we? Do we have anything that does that right now? For Warlock?
Neverset Thrasher.
No, do we have anything that actually buffs, like any minion right now that buffs whenever we take?
So there is Nethersoul Buster, which is a 3 mana 1/5 battle cry. Gain stats equal to the amount of damage your heroes take on turn.
Wow, yeah, okay, that's right.
Vulture, it says after your hero takes damage on your turn, summon a random 3-cost minion. So like Neverset Thrasher and Disease Vulture is actually like a very powerful play.
Yeah.
3 mana 4/5 turn 3. On turn 4, you summon a 3/5 plus a random 3-drop, which is like ahead of the curve, like way ahead of the curve, right?
Yeah.
So on the play, that's like a powerful curve, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of something that Zoo's been missing from the most recent expansion. They have a bunch of powerful 1 and 2 drops, but they don't have like the finishers. And like Neverset Thrasher comes in and he is a beating. Same thing with Disease Vulture afterwards. So I think there's like a really good Zoo top end.
Yeah, this is like this is a bit heftier of a Zoo. It's like these minions aren't removable. Like these are 5 health minions early on in games, where like most of the Zoos, we've gotten to 4 with Melakis, and like it's definitely been sticky from that regard. But for the most part, they've never been like this. This feels like a little more mid range. Kind of type of plays, right?
They're really good mid range decks. Did you ever like play Magic the Gathering?
I didn't know. But
okay, well, there was this deck called Jund, which was like just good stuff. It wasn't like any like thing that it really wanted to accomplish. It was just really good cards, and these are really good cards.
It's like old school Druid, you know, just throw really good cards in the deck and
all the best cards in the deck.
Yeah,
some of them.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's move on to Warrior here. Hack the system. Attack 5 times with your hero, and then attack 5 times with your hero. It's pretty easy if you play some of the weapons. Obviously, it's particularly the weapon that you can attack like with overkill. Like you can attack like 4 times.
Soul Thrays.
Soul Thrays. Yeah, Soul Thrays. And so with this,
or Overlord's Whip would be the other one.
Overlord's
Even
Whip
upgrade, like use upgrade as a 1-mana 1/3. But yeah, you get a hero power that says you summon a 4/3 mech, and then whenever you attack, you refresh this hero power. So you can go like summon a 4/3 attack, 4/3, and then if you have like Soul Threes, you can go like 4/3 attack, 4/3 attack, 4/3.
So you can get 4 of them up on the board, basically.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. Actually, can you get 10? You can get. No, sorry, not 10. 5. You can get 5 of them on the board. You play it once, play once, play. No, because you can only swing 4 times. No, you play one, swing, play one, swing. Yeah,
it's like one.
So you can get 5. Yeah, you can 5 4/3 on the board. Right. Okay, so I mean, pretty interesting. I actually think that this is not what I would have expected, you know, from a warrior hero power. So
it feels very much like a custom Hearthstone card. Like someone designed this on custom Hearthstone and is like, look at this cool thing I made, and it's like, oh, that'll never see print.
Right, exactly, right.
Very complicated. It's like, but it's cool to see, right? Like
I
it's
think
a
it's
very
cool
good way to think about how to build your deck.
Yeah, and it supports this, you know, more tempo or mid-range type of warrior, which generally has just been super bad. So I don't know if it's going to be necessarily good, especially later on in games. But maybe, you know, with Dr. Boone, I mean, is Dr. Boone's going to screw that hero power up too? So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of questionable then. You know, if
it's not a Dr. Boone archetype, you know, I think it would actually be I think it would be a warrior that's closer to what we've seen from like older control warriors that would play this card. You know, it did get some support. Hack the System, I think, got some support in Armored Goon, if you like scroll down a bit, which is a Boulder Fist Ogre that says whenever your hero attacks, gain 5 armor.
Yeah, that's so good, dude.
Which is actually very really strong. Really, it's like a very strong card.
I mean, this is worth playing Soul Thrays by itself. Like, it's crazy.
Maybe, right? Like you go a coin Soul Thrays into Armored Goon and just gain 20 alongside of it.
Or just armor, or just equip Soul Thrays before, and then just, you know.
Yeah, that's
you know, and then you can just clear like 4 guys, and you just like probably plus 15 on your armor from that, all that. So it's pretty great.
It needs some like hefty support for it to be good enough to see play, but like if it gets stuff like Armored Goon in the future, wow, this is going to be powerful.
Yeah. Let's see. Plague of Wrath. Gosh, there's always that situational element to the removals outside of like Brawl. Like you have to damage everything first, and there's still a lot of Whirlwindish type of abilities, but I don't know. It just never feels elegant and easy, you know, compared to like some of the other classes in their removal.
I think Warrior got the best card of the expansion with Bloodsworn Mercenary.
Okay, Battlecry, choose the damage. Choose a damage-friendly minion, summon a copy of it. Oh, really? Okay. Like, which minion particularly are you thinking about?
Any minion. This is like a 6-mana card at 3 mana.
I mean, it's kind of like the Warlock card. You know, like any of these cards you mentioned, a Warlock with a token is kind of similar to that. But I guess you can, you know, this can happen obviously with large minions, which is obviously will be much better.
It's really good. It's really good with Magnetize too. Like something along the lines of like Eternium Rover, Coin Snip Snap, Bloodsworn Mercenary. You have won the game immediately.
Oh, geez, yeah, that's true. That's
so. And even in the late game too, like you have something like Leroy Jenkins, Inner Rage, Bloodsworn Mercenary for another 8 attack. Leroy Jenkins for just 16 off the top as a warrior. Which is, it's really funny because Warrior's supposed to be limited by the amount of face damage it could do, but then they played like the best combo card for attacking. That's a story for another time. But yeah, Bloodsworn Mercenary, it's like a really good tempo tool, control tool, combo tool. It does everything.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that I didn't really think about this card when I first saw it like in that way. I mean, it just kind of felt like, oh, you know, it's another copy, you know, type of card. But you know, just knowing what it can copy.
It's another copy, but you also get a 3/3 alongside that.
Yeah, right.
and it's 3 mana. You know, like Tal'Daram was busted when it was activated, right? Like if you could run Tal'Daram in every single deck without the limitation of having it be no other 3-drops, you would. Tal'Daram was just good enough that you run in every single deck. This is like that with, you got to run 2 of them. You get an extra 3/3 alongside that body, and the only limitation is the minion has to be damaged.
God,
so
yeah, Snip Snap would be just sticky, crazy.
brutal.
Brutal. Guaranteed to have something on the board. All right, so let's kind of move on. Unless there's anything else in Warrior.
Enter the Fray is like it's a very good gentle tool. Yeah. I'm not sure if they have enough like solid taunt minions right now for this to be like the nuts. But if they get anything along the lines of like the previous Warrior quest, I could easily see Into the Fray being played.
I feel like there is actually.
You think so?
I feel like there are enough taunts. I was kind of looking through just all the new taunts and was before. I think there's actually like a legitimate chance that Into the Fray is something. Well, you know, we'll have to see. Like, I mean, you're mentioning like Bloodsworn Mercenary now, so I'm not sure it's going to measure up to that, depending on what, you know. I don't know if there's like a lot of small taunts, but like a lot of these taunts, like Tomb Warden, is like summon a copy of itself, right? So if you buff that, you know, that obviously adds value to that card, which wasn't intended originally. So
the reason you know what, I'm gonna say I agree with you anyways. Like I'm gonna retract my point about how I think there might not be enough stuff in play. If there's a Zoo Warrior deck, this card is definitely gonna see play.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, no question.
Do you remember Soul Infusion, which said give the leftmost minion in your hand +2/+2?
Yep.
That saw play in Zoo. That was a 1 mana +2/+2 buff. Into the Fray is a 1 mana +2/+2 buff. That also buffs like all your other minions.
Yeah, well, so, I mean, Soul Fusion was any card though. It was any minion, right? Like,
it was Soul, but also it had the limitation of being your leftmost minion, right? Yeah, so it was in that as well.
I mean, this one you actually have to build you actually have to build a deck that's going to take, you know, those type of drawbacks, you know, for it being taunt. But the taunt minions, I feel like the taunt minions in this expansion or the recent expansions, they really haven't given a lot of value to the taunt keyword. You know, like they're just solid minions for the most part, you know, or they have some other value from the actual text that you know gives it the value that's worth the mana cost. So the taunt, you know, before, you know, when they were designing cards back in the day, taunt was like worth a mana, you know, like a whole mana, and that's why nobody ever would play it, because it's just, you know, taunt doesn't matter, right? So nowadays, I feel like taunt's just kind of thrown in and doesn't really, maybe has a half a mana to none, you know, like in terms of how they're valuing it with the cost. So that makes this card like super.
They definitely like adjusted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely like adjusted how much they value mana.
Yeah, because can you imagine like if you Into the Frayed like Armadillo and Armadillo's, you know, buffing stuff in your hand as well. Like that's pretty crazy, actually.
Sure. I think when I'm talking about Into the Fray, I imagine a Zoo deck, because like hand buff mechanics are usually like way better the earlier they happen.
Yeah, of course.
You know, like if you can do like this into a 2 into a 3, and those are both taunt minions, that's like when it's at its most powerful, right?
Yeah, they're 2 mana taunts too, right? They're like 3/2 taunts, I think. Or
yeah, Frightened Flunky is crazy.
There you go. Yeah, Afraid Flunky is like a 2/2. You know, so we get a 4, and you discover a taunt minion too. Like, man, yeah, it could be some good stuff there. Okay, well, kind of moving on, just so we can kind of wrap things up. We're definitely going over, but so hopefully that's
sorry,
okay
man. There's just like so many good cards.
I'm cool with it, so it's just as long as you're cool with it, it's all good. Yeah. These 3 out of these top 4 right here, I think are like, you know, awesome, like great to talk about. Go ahead.
Sorry, I see off the top of my head, I see 2 really good beige buffs with this kind of deck. Because Colossus of the Moon, when he conjures calling a Sea Giant, suddenly you get a 10/10 with Divine Shield 3/4, and that's nuts.
God.
And then King Ferris, we were talking about it earlier, right? Like King Ferris is a really good sideboard card for Mage.
Yeah. I mean, actually, all 4 of these cards are pretty interesting. Yeah, right? I mean, Tiamat is like it's like Megasaur, like, but the better, you know, like 7 mana, 6/6 elemental, gain 2. Either Rush, Taunt, Divine Shield, or Wind Fairy, your choice.
Tiamat is good. Tiamat is really good.
It's just solid, you know, like I could see that being the card that they announced, you know, the week before, you know, type of thing, and having people play around with it. King Ferris we talked about before. You know, this is the one where for each spell in your hand, summon a random minion of the same. I think this is like a blowout card potentially if there's not enough removal. Like if you get 10 mana minions on the board. And then the Zephyr the Great. These are all legendaries by the way. They're 2 mana, 3/2 elemental. This is like brand new. Like Battlecry, if your deck has no duplicates, wish for the perfect card. And I don't know if you caught this or not, but it's supposed to, like the AI is supposed to figure out what they think is the best card.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, dude. Like if it's good, if it's actually the AI is good, that's pretty awesome.
Well, did you see the reveal stream? So they played it in the same scenario twice. So they played it on turn 2 when the opponent had nothing in play.
Yeah.
And it gave the exact same options each time.
That sucks.
No, that doesn't suck. That means that it's like figured out each situation.
Okay. That's what you meant. Okay.
Cards. So like if it comes across the same situation and comes to the same conclusion each time, that means there's a random element.
Which
you can figure it out.
Oh, I thought you meant that. I didn't actually catch that part. So I thought you meant that it gave the same choices in different situations. So okay, cool.
It gave the same choices in the same situation.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Which was it was play turn 2. It gave a Wild Growth, an Animal Companion, and a Brightwing, and then they did the same thing later, and it gave Wild Growth, Animal Companion, Brightwing.
Wow. Obviously great cards, potentially to have in those situations. I'm really curious to see if it's, I'm really curious to see, obviously, a full board, I'd expect to see, removal cards. And then one that's kind of like maybe 3 card, like 2 cards to 1, in those kind of situations to see what it comes up with.
Well, one of the things I want to talk about, because like this is probably the card that I want to talk about the most from the neutrals, is that if it did the same thing twice, and it does like its logic is programmed in such a way that there's no randomness. Like it's predictable. When it comes to the same conclusion, it will like always reach the same conclusion. You know what I mean? Like in the same situation.
Yeah.
That means that like for a big tournament like Masterstroke Soul, which is coming up in a couple weeks, where the new set is going to be played, someone could just be jamming like hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of games of Zephyr to see what it'll do in like each spot and like calculate like the exact odds of, like something happening.
Yeah, it's a specific draw this card, basically. I mean, like Zephyr, the text would basically say draw this card in this situation, but it would be so flexible. It would literally be.
And the more situations that you like memorize what it will do, you can like get an edge upon your opponent because like suddenly say, oh, if I like use this amount of mana and like set it so this guy's health is like this amount and this guy's health is this amount and his health is at this amount and like I discard a couple cards from my hand, it'll give me a fireball.
Right, exactly.
Or something like that. So it really rewards just playing the game of Hearthstone, which I like.
Crazy fascinating card. Like, this is cool shit. I mean, like, this is
family friendly aside. This is some
I had to cuss there just because this is like that awesome of a card. So, it's about time, it's about time we saw them, flex some of that. They have all the data. So like they should be able to create cards that can use that data and have outcomes be based on it. So this is I applaud them for this card. If it actually works out, like it does, really give you answers at the right time. And obviously if it does, then everybody's gonna play this card. That's one drawback to it. Like if it's an auto add, that kind of sucks if it's an auto add in every single deck. But if it does end up being that, super kudos to the team for being able to build something like that. So I'm super curious to see how it is, especially now that you're talking about that, like the players being able to memorize the type of situations that this card might, the choices it might generate. But at the very least, this card, I mean, even just by design, right? It's supposed to give you the card that you need at the moment. So like this has to be auto add, right? Like why would anybody not add this?
Your Highlander deck, you always play Zephyr the Great.
Yeah, well that's true. It's a Highlander. Yeah, that's true. I guess
it's not an auto add in that sense because like duplicate decks, will probably not run this.
Good
like
point.
maybe there's like some weird cycle scenario where you get like to singletons and Zephyrus has like a weird combo, if, like a certain thing happens, but that would require like a lot of playtesting that I can't do mentally right now. All right, so how about the rest of the neutrals? Because we have like a lot to go through. Want to just like each of us like pick out our favorite
let's just
one?
pick out a few. Just pick
out your favorite one for like each line. So like
each line, sure.
Yeah,
Octosauri. Yeah, Octosauri. I didn't say anything else here.
Mortuary Machine is like kind of like a Fel Reaver,
well,
but
the Moog Occultist is cool because the whole Hiram, that's like a 2020.
But it's not good, right?
Like, it's not good, but it's a total meme one, right? So I don't understand this Desert Obelisk. Like when I looked at it, how can you get 3 of these things? It's like, why would you want 3 of these things?
It's bad. That card is flat out bad. There's no
All right, let's go to the next one.
Octosari is kind of crazy. Like,
kinda.
Yeah. Well, it's an 8 mana do nothing, right? And the problem with 8 mana do nothing is that they have something like really powerful attached to them to make it worth it. And maybe Death Rattle drawing, in full hand is worth it. So
8 mana do nothing. Are you serious? It's 8 mana 8/8, and then it's got the.
When you're putting Ray of Frost Octosari, you're saying, shoot, I lost this game.
Okay.
So there's a lot of counterplay with these kind of just big beaters that don't have like a positive effect on the board when they come into play immediately.
Yeah, I mean it's almost impossible not to overdraw though with this card. I mean I'm sure this card's gonna overdraw like 70-80% of the time, but
that's fine.
It's still crazy.
Draw 5 is still
still crazy. Still crazy.
Next line, history buff is just a spider tank with upside. Like huge upside. Whenever you play a minion, you get a random in your hand +1/+1. That's just like a spider tank with additional tempo. Okay.
Oh my God.
We really needed this.
Power creep. I mean, 3/4 was already becoming the default. Now this is like clear indication that our new standard is even higher now, which is crazy.
Yes. This is a nutty card.
I think Body Wrapper is pretty. I mean, this feels like a priest card, right? Like
it's like some weird combo deck with a Holy Wrath, right? Like you kill your Shivala and then do it. But I don't think it works because you also have to play other minions. So,
actually, the Scoundrel it was one that I wanted to talk about. The Volpera Scoundrel, because this is the first time they give you. I think you discover spell, and if you don't like the 3 choices, there's like a mystery one.
3 face up and 1 face down.
Exactly. That's cool. So I like that. That's really
might be in a situation where like the 3 just don't save you, and you're like, all right. We gotta create RNGs.
It's fun though. It's fun. It's definitely cool. All right, next line. It's kind of some swap the top decks. Kind of
Blatant Decoy was the card that I was thinking about with Juicy Sight Melon. But the problem is it doesn't cost 7 mana. It costs 2 little mana.
right.
7 mana Blatant Decoy, and then when it dies, it summons the Octosari, and you're like, ha, gotcha.
right. It's a full restore adjacent minions to full. Infested Goblin might be good in that
Neverset Ritualist is like a great arena card.
Yeah.
At the bare minimum, like Battlecry, restore adjacent minions to full health, and it's River Croc.
It's got to play. Yeah, exactly. It's just too good. It's good by itself. All right, keep going.
Next line.
Conjured Mirage.
Mummy is like a big minion, but it's not that great. And you like Conjured Mirage?
No, I like the design. I don't necessarily like, I don't think it's necessarily effective, but I think it's really cool how they did that. Because it's just basically like 10 armor, right? But you get it back in your, like, it's infinite. You get it back, like in your
it's only 10 armor if they could deal 10 damage to it, right?
Yeah. But it's taunt. Like, I mean, obviously spells can hit over it, but the way they did it, they put it as a minion that just like it basically just lives, like it is like infinite for the most part.
It's interesting. I think it's like super weak, but the effect is very interesting.
Other than that, let's see. Restore 3 hero to your dome. 50%. good old.
Cartoon Defender's not so great.
Yeah, I don't think anything's too crazy there. Keep going. Questing Explorer, dude, that's crazy good.
Questing Explorer is really good. Quicksand Elemental is just a straight Meister that shrinks your opponent's entire board.
Yeah.
And that's just like, and it's an Elemental. Whatever, man. Yeah. All right, and it's a neutral. Yep. Quicksand Elemental, that needed to be printed. Well, Wrap Golem is like I think Wrap Golem is an upgrade to the Obsidian Destroyer.
A long time ago. That's right. It's better. It's like way better, actually.
Reborn is definitely better than 2 extra health on them in like this. So
yeah, it's not even close, right? It's Reborn is definitely way better.
I'm not gonna play this main deck, but if you get it off something like Conjurer's Calling, like you go Rattle Bouncer, Conjurer's Calling, or you go like Pharaoh's Cat into Wrap Golem, that's probably like good, right?
Or that Rogue card, right? We can draw a Reborn card or whatever.
Yeah. Pharaoh's Cat.
Yeah, Pharaoh's Cat. You're right. Okay, let's keep going here.
Mermy is just very solid.
Nothing too crazy. This is obviously interesting in a way, but it's just too slow. This is way too slow.
Are you talking about a newbie set, the Warbringer?
Yeah, Warbringer. You can't control that, right? It's like
it's going to be good off of, like, again, it's like Conjurer's Calling, or you run it with the Anka the Buried, the 5 mana 5/5 broke. But
yeah, but you're right.
I don't.
Mermaid is going to be like one of those.
Mermaid is very solid.
Yeah,
Mermaid is
nothing
very
too great, but it's super good. Like Reborn.
I think it's a really powerful one drop
Yeah,
because it's
it's
got the
really
Murloc
good.
text, which is I think Murloc text is one of the most important in terms of like tribal synergies. Like they are probably the most tempo oriented tribe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Beast doesn't matter that much, but like Murloc synergizes with other Murlocs like super well. And you have a Murloc that when it dies, it summons another Murloc for 1 mana, which is it's very powerful in terms of like
super powerful, and it's neutral too, so it can be played in the Hunter
yes.
deck or the Shaman deck or any. I mean, it's
Yeah.
sticky. That's all it needs to be. You know, crazy.
Yes, that's
good.
all it is. Exactly.
Yeah. Let's see anything here. Here's another.
The next line isn't that crazy. Serpent Egg is like kind of reminiscent of Nerubian Egg, but I think it's actually worse.
No, yeah.
Extra health on the first minion and less health or less attack on the second minion are both bad things. You want your egg as little health as possible and the thing to be as big as possible. So Serpent Egg seems like maybe a little bit too weak compared to Nerubian Egg.
Yeah, I think so too. Nerubian is definitely way better than that. Not way better, but just better. Yeah, nothing too interesting here. Just
and that's the thing about like small minions, right? Is that it's only slightly better, but like at low mana cost, slightly better is leagues of difference.
A lot better. Yeah, exactly.
Like 1 extra attack or 1 extra health on a 10 mana card, like a 12-11 and a 12-12 isn't really going to change Deathwing, but like a 3-2 and a 3-1 at 1 mana is like insanely important.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, let's see. Battlecry 4. This Golden Scarab is pretty solid.
It's a 3 mana 2/2 is the problem.
Yeah, but you're just you're discovering a card, right.
Yeah, you don't get a summon.
We've had this.
Card. Wow, that would be powerful.
Yeah, I mean we've had cards like this in the past, but obviously I think the power level is higher right now.
Yeah.
Which it wasn't before. It wasn't an expansion ago. Now all of a sudden this is just like, yeah, this ain't powerful enough. Which is, I don't know. I mean, because before, what was the card before? It was like 3 mana 2/2 that we could drew a card. It was
there was a Cabal
Cabal. Yeah, right.
Cabal like Crystal Keeper or something. It was 3 mana 2/2 that discovered like a card from Warlock, Priest, and Maid.
Yeah, yep.
But
exactly.
It was still like very fringe play in Reno decks, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think Golden Scarab would ever have been like a powerhouse in Hearthstone, but like it definitely won't see play in this set. I think there's just too many powerful cards.
Okay.
And Living Monument is like another good Conjurer's Calling target from your Sea Giant, right? Like that's like one of the best things you can get because suddenly you're protected. Like you spend a lot of time just like letting your opponent hit you to do this swing turn, and Living Monument is.
There's nothing better. Yeah, that's absolutely the best thing.
Yeah.
Like 4/12 is not going to be better than this, right? So this is absolutely the best. Keep going here. Deal 5 damage. Wow. Okay.
It's a powerful card.
Minions. Okay.
And then Faceless Lurker is like you were talking about. You wanted taunts for taunt.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah.
This is like a 5 mana 5/10. Not too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely really good. Fine. All right, keep going.
Beaming Sidekick is a really good 1-drop.
Give a friendly minion +2 health. Okay, yeah.
Like if you think of it as a 1 mana 1/4, that'd be like one of the best 1-drops ever.
I mean, but you can't play it on one. You can't play it on one.
1-drop, exactly.
Yeah,
like it gets into a zoo deck.
Yeah.
Or like Odd Paladin would love this card, for example.
Yeah. Anything else here?
Cobalt Sand Trooper, I think, is a little bit too expensive for an aggro deck. I could be wrong on that card, but I don't think it's a. I think like Leper Gnome for 1 extra mana and 1 extra damage on the death rattle, I don't think is good enough.
Yeah. Injured Tol'vir, I mean, if you buffed this would be super good, right? And it's like River Croc, worst case. Right?
Yeah, it's a River Croc. River Crocs are generally like not great. If you need like extra effort to make the River Croc better, that's
yeah, generally not good.
Effort that costs mana. That's what I mean. Like, so I don't think Injured Tol'vir is like amazing.
Okay, well, anyways, that's all the cards, I believe. Yeah, the rest of these are tokens. So, set's amazing, dude. I mean, I'm excited to get a chance.
It's powerful.
It's going to flip everything. I mean, obviously the archetypes might still be some similarities here and there, but we're going to see like a large amount of new cards being played. So excited, like what do you think about this? Like, is this a good thing? Is this, like one thing that we talked about back when the reset happened, just this past year, is that, oh, we're finally going to get Hearthstone at like a lower power, just it's a lower powered Hearthstone. So there's a little bit more space to maneuver. And I think Rise of Shadows kind of moved, it was relatively contained in terms of power, but this is just like, Frozen Throne level, like it's outright just it could have impact for the next year.
I think that it's a good and bad thing. It's a good thing in the sense that like it lets players do like broken stuff. And it's bad in the sense that if they aren't on top of like keeping things in check, then the meta could like be super disastrous if like something is just way too powerful compared to everything else. But like I think this kind of risk taking is okay, especially when you take it when you like think about how they've been like balance patching constantly over the last several months. Like the way that Blizzard or like the game designers at Blizzard have been balancing Hearthstone has been like super cool to see for like the last year. And if they keep doing that, then they can print these powerful sets as long as they continue to do consistent balance patches.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that increased schedule of balancing leads to these sets being okay.
Yeah. One thing I'm happy about, again, with Grandmasters, that we're going to get a chance to see a lot more decks. If there is just one deck that's super powerful, we can ban it, or you can protect it, but we'll at least see another, couple other decks, going against each other. So there's going to be a lot to choose from here. So we'll see what you guys come up with. Excited to see that. Quick question before we take off, just with Q&A. There's one pretty good question from Ahmed that's our regular in terms of asking questions. So should Blizzard allow GMs, and this is disregarding, you replacing dogs, so don't, hopefully you don't take it, wrong at all, but should Blizzard allow GMs to stream GM matches on their channel and the streamers provide commentary on them in order to keep streamers like Dog in the system while attracting their viewer base to esports? It's a good question because, like, I think Dog.
It's a very multi-layered question, right? Because like, there's a lot of things that you have to say about it. I think that on the surface, like answering that question by itself, with no other like strings attached, I would say no. I think if you are a GM, like part of the reason that they've got you in the system is to like play the game and like get you as a resource pretty much for the stream, right? Like they want people watching, they want eyes on the stream instead of other streams. They're putting a lot of like effort and time and stuff into the Grandmaster League. So obviously it makes sense for them to want no competition during that time from the people that are like playing the game for them, right? But there's like a lot of other stuff that is involved in like keeping streamers invested, like Dog. Like one of the reasons that Dog quit was not really because of the fact that he couldn't stream specifically during like Grandmasters. It was that he didn't like the format, right? So if the format was better for Dog, if he had more incentive to play and to compete because he really enjoys competing, then he would have been totally fine with it,
Yeah.
So they have updated the system for this upcoming expansion, so I think it'll be fine. I don't really think that was like the major issue of why Dog left. Sure, obviously Dog, like a lot of people, likes money, so he chose the higher monetary investment, but I don't really think it was 100% because of that Dog quit. It was more so he wasn't a fan of the league system, right?
Yeah, I mean, he
definitely wasn't a fan of the current way of current specialists and just like playing two games.
Okay, so I guess the question is, and this is again, like I don't want to ask too much just because this would have impacted you, but like, did he know then? Did he know they were switching to Conquest and it was going to be different, or?
I have no idea.
Yeah, see, like
that is above my level. So.
I kind of assume I assume he did know that. Like, I would think that they would have tried to keep him somehow, and I think that kind of giving him under NDA, just information beforehand, he'd probably known that. So, I think that
the good thing is that it's not like Dog is really in a spot where he, like, I would say screwed over because he left the league too early. Remember that he won Vegas, right? So if he does want to come back, then the current system for inviting
right
is the the highest prize money earners, and Dog is.
Oh, so he's still going to be at World Champs, then, right?
If Dog wants to come back, he can always come back. So if he likes the system in 2020, you'll be seeing Dog in the format.
Ah, good point. That's actually I didn't think about that. Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be pretty funny if he wins the World Championship and he's actually not in GM anymore? That would be kind of crazy.
I don't think like Dog left on bad terms or anything. You know,
No,
like he made it
so
clear that if the system got better, like at least in terms of what he thought was better, then he'd be happy to come back. And he has the opportunity to because of how well he did at Vegas. So
So to answer the question, I think that what you're saying is basically it wasn't really a factor for him. I think
it was a factor. It wasn't the big one, and I think that it was just like for Dog specifically, he is such a big streamer that he could say, "Hey, like monetarily, like this isn't worth it for me." But that isn't like GM is quite a lofty gig, right? Like the amount that you get paid for like the amount of time that they require from you is very high. So it's just Dog is one of the few people where it's higher than that, you know?
Yeah. So it's kind of a hit, like for my opinion on just like allowing streamers to do it or not, it's kind of like, it's like 50-50 because like I totally agree with you and everything you said, like it is about that main broadcast, but nowadays it's like, we kind of saw a little bit with the Fortnite stream because the Fortnite stream was dispersed amongst a lot of the streamers, like Ninja's channel, and I don't know if you followed it or not, but the World Cup was like, dispersed in a lot of ways. It did kind of converge a bit at the end, but nowadays it is that's what the Twitch ecosystem is now. Like it really does favor, or it does really just generally with like sponsorships and just where everything is moving, it is very streamer centric type of environment. And I think that there is something to be said to just adapting events to really take that into account. Maybe every streamer has to like have a certain overlay, and we still have, sponsorships for all these events, still getting their impressions and just fulfilling those things in terms and agreements. But I think that there is something to be said with that. I know the Blizzard team spends a lot of money in this crazy production, and they do a great job at it. But the reality is that, like, I think you would potentially get more people, like in aggregate, if you did have all these people.
Possibly, it's a bit above my pay grade. Like,
of course, it's above everybody.
Spend more time like just trying to play the game rather than worrying about this.
Of course.
So. I show up and play some cards.
Yeah, of course. So, but anyways, definitely, obviously, decisions Blizzard, they're going to know best. But definitely interesting question. Okay, man, let's wrap up. It was fun, yeah. Definitely great talking cards with you and getting your insight on all these things, and obviously getting a chance to talk to you about GM and definitely going to be rooting for you this coming season, and hopefully seeing you at not only the playoffs, but hopefully seeing you win and get to the World Championships too, man. That's going to be awesome.
Thank you so much for having me, man. I had a lot of fun on this cast. Yeah, I hopefully I do well. It'd be cool to make Worlds. Not the expected. That's not the expected outcome, but sometimes the unexpected happens. So
absolutely,
pretty nice.
Got a dream, right? Got a dream. Is there any shout outs you want to do before we take off?
Shout outs I want to do, not off the top of my head. Just the Hearthstone community in general. People watching, like, you guys are cool. Hearthstone community rocks. So just an overall shout out to them.
All right, cool. And I'll kind of I second that. You guys watching. I know it's a little bit later tonight, so thanks for kind of watching us at that new time. But I want to give a shout out to you, of course, joining me today. And if you guys missed any of the show, you can go to youtube.com/ChanmanV and catch the VOD there once I post it. Also, you can find us on all the audio channels: iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, SoundCloud.com/ChanmanV. So you can find it just where you always find it. But it's going to be an exciting week, guys. Just definitely be on the lookout. Play Hearthstone. Just the main Hearthstone Twitter will obviously be keeping everybody updated on everything. But I'm sure there's going to be lots of Theorycraft streams and firesides and things like that to play. So keep a lookout for that. But until then, guys, for Gallon and myself, ChanmanV, we'll see you in 2 weeks. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop back on here, answer any questions.